us the mighty Thor, because we're bringing back the thunder. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable Automotive Avengers event.
Filmed live at Northwood University is our super student panel with Brooke Engelhart, Carson Gutoves, and myself, Katrina Ness.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sophie Jordan Collins, along with Sarah Van Tyne, and we're here at our Northwood University student panel. Students, I'm going to go down the line starting with Brooke, and if you want to say your name, tell us your major and where you're from.
Hi, my name is Brooke Engelhart. I am a marketing major here at Northwood University, and I am from Saline, Michigan.
I am Carson Gutoves. I am a marketing communications major here, and I'm from Milford, Michigan.
I'm Katrina Ness. I'm an automotive marketing and management major here at Northwood University, and I'm from Birmingham, Michigan.
Sophie, there's been so much going on here at Northwood University with this National Auto Show, and also some of the student events and the volunteers that have been going on. And at first, Brooke, I'd like to start off and go down the line and ask y'all's experience. So, as a student at Northwood University and being involved with the auto show, tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a student here in your day-to-day life.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, for starters, I am actually on the executive board for the Northwood University International Auto Show as our marketing chair. So all marketing coordinations are done by me and my team, and Katrina is actually one of the members of my team here with me today. But being able to take what I'm learning in the classroom and apply it to the auto show, whether it be my marketing courses, my business core electives, any of that sort of stuff, I'm actually able to apply it to the auto show, and it's great to be able to see it all come together nicely.
Well, Carson, same question. So what has it been like as a student, on campus? What has been most exciting to you as a student here?
Well, come auto show season, it gets very exciting and very fulfilling to walk around and see all these cars rolling up on campus. I might not be on e-board like they are, but I am a part of the auto show by being a team captain for Team Jeep. So I do get to use my major a little bit by how I portray my booth to make sure people want to come see it and want to be a part of it. But having all these cars on campus is very awesome to see, and it makes me feel like I picked Northwood to be the right school.
And it's incredible to see how many student volunteers are here just all across campus helping on this event. And Katrina, so same question for you too. What has been impactful for you as a student at Northwood, day-to-day life? What has been your experience?
Yeah, so I'm the public relations chair of the auto show. So I'm doing all the, working with Brooke and doing marketing and this kind of stuff. And I'm an automotive marketing and management major, so I really get to take the auto background that we learn in the classroom and apply it in what we do on campus with the auto show. And it's really helpful from taking what we learn in the classroom and building an amazing event with other smaller events around it. And we just have a great time doing it.
So there are a lot of amazing colleges and universities out there, but I'm curious, why did y'all pick Northwood?
Yeah, well, so my dad is actually an alumni from Northwood, graduated in '90, and I mainly, for my own choice of picking Northwood, in high school I went on a bus trip to this gorgeous university, and as soon as I stepped off of the bus, there was a sense of feeling to me where in my mind I just said, this is where I belong and this is where I need to be. And I was very grateful to have chosen this school. I feel like it was the right choice 100%, even 110% of the way through. So I'm very grateful to be here, and Northwood just feels like home to me, honestly.
Thank you. For me, I didn't really know where I wanted to go when I came out of high school, and I saw that Northwood was a business school, so that was really interesting to me because that's what I want to go into, and I knew that from the start. And then I found out that Northwood has the accelerated BBA MBA program here, where you can get your bachelor's in 3 years and then your master's in your 4th year. And that was very important to me because I want to get a head start right when I graduate college and make sure that I can be ahead and have something that the other competitors in the job field won't have. So that was also very important to me. And I don't know anyone, like I didn't know any alumni here or anything. So I just came here strictly because of business and the programs that they offered me.
Yeah.
Trina, same for you.
My mom works for Cox Automotive, so Cox Automotive works closely with Northwood University. So she really pushed me going to Northwood, and I honestly wasn't very interested at first, but as soon as I stepped on campus and toured it and realized all the amazing connections it would have for me in my future, it was really appealing. It really gets you a head start on your career, and it has great, amazing connections that will help you accelerate in your future. And it's just amazing network opportunities and smaller things and great events that you wouldn't be able to find at a big school.
Well, Katrina, I'm glad you mentioned the word connection, because that is such an important component about the Northwood Auto program. And it's really incredible to see all of the different ways that y'all as students have opportunities to connect with professionals across our industry. Let's talk a little bit about Northwood's philosophy. So there's some really key stakes that the Northwood really inspires in students. And I would love to hear about y'all's experience personally, how they impact you. But the idea around valuing freedom and personal responsibility and enterprise, what does the Northwood idea mean to you? Katrina, I'll start with you and we can go down the line.
It really just means like personal responsibility and building your own brand and creating a name for yourself outside of the school and in the automotive industry or whatever major you're going into. And it's really just about being yourself and, making a name for yourself.
I also see the Northwood idea like Katrina does, but I also feel that it adds more of you are building your own person and no one else is responsible for you. So making sure that you are responsible for yourself and what you make is yours and what you have is yours and no one else should take that away from you is one of the big ideals that Northwood has taught me. And I think that is very important for your everyday business life, to make sure that whatever money you make is yours and whatever you have company-wise, that is yours and you're entitled to that because you made it. And no one else should try and take that from you because of who you are or just because they don't have it and they want it or anything like that.
Yeah, the Northwood idea to me is definitely a stepping stone. And throughout this week, I've actually had the opportunity to be a nominee of the Fresh Air Ambassador. So Fresh Air is Northwood's Code of Ethics, which stands for freedom, respect, empathy, spirituality, honesty, achievement, integrity, and responsibility. And these Code of Ethics I definitely abide by at all times, anytime I'm on campus or even off campus. And it's a true blessing to be able to be a nominee for this ambassador position. And overall, I just feel that all of Northwood's students and faculty and staff definitely abide by this Code of Ethics and even the Northwood idea overall as a whole.
That's incredible. So all three of y'all seem to be very well spoken, and y'all are definitely showing off that you're leaders. And I know that one of Northwood's pride and joy is that they empower their students to be leaders. So I'm curious, what are some things you've learned at Northwood that are going to help you to have a successful career?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, one of the things that I have learned after currently holding many different leadership positions, but also having quite a few positions as even underneath a leader, is just knowing that holding these positions gives me the opportunity to take, again, what I spoke about earlier, taking what I'm learning in the classroom and applying it to these positions and being involved in real world experiences for sure.
Northwood, Northwood has really taught me a lot about being a leader and how different leadership types work and giving us real life examples, and the professors here having jobs before this, like where they have big leadership positions, and them telling us how they did and what they did to become a good leader, and then giving us the auto show so we can exemplify what we have learned from them so that we can try it out ourselves and see what we like. And we have multiple years here to figure out what type of leadership we would want and how we can exemplify that through our everyday lives. And having internships also to help get us acclimated to those different types of leaderships that they teach us and seeing which one fits for us. And that is very important. And making sure that we have our own leadership styles and finding out who we are is what Northwood is really here for. And I think that is really important.
Yeah, I agree. So Northwood, besides auto show, it has a bunch of other events for the different majors. And it really just pushes like students running these events, and it gives great leadership opportunities. You can't read a textbook about leadership and immediately be a leader. You have to go out and do it yourself before you run out into the industry and do it in your own professional career. So Northwood really provides those opportunities to learn about leadership hands-on, and that's just really what Northwood is about. It's about hands-on learning and running these events and just having those experiences and getting that stuff under your belt so you look great for job applications in the future.
Well, Brooke, Katrina, and Carson, y'all have really shown us today what it means to be a student here at Northwood University. And it's incredible to see just how you're inspiring other leaders in the student body and across the industry as you step into the professional world in the future. So thank you all for being on the Fixed Ops Roundtable today. Stay tuned, everybody. We have some exciting segments coming up. On behalf of TEDings and the Fixed Ops Roundtable, this is our Northwood student panel. We're looking forward to having you stay tuned and catch more segments next.
Our next panel is here to share their super strategies to increase customer and employee retention. It's the RepairPal panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We have a great panel that's hosted by RepairPal with some great retail leaders from around the country. We're going to talk today about key strategies to increase customer and employee retention. And if it's okay, I'd like to go around the room, starting with Brandon, then over to Gary, and Matthew and Geno to bring it home. If you would, everybody, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, a little bit about your organization, where you're located, and maybe what franchise or franchises you have, starting with Brandon.
Yeah, my name is Brandon Andrews. I'm the Fixed Operations Director for Dayton Andrews Automotive. We have Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat stores in Clearwater, St. Pete, Florida, as well as we have a store in Imperial Valley, California. We've been family owned and operated since 1964. I'm third generation. So my grandfather started the company.
Well, congratulations. Great place to be in Florida in November, so love that too. So, and in California, yeah. Gary, welcome, and tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Gary Ralston. I'm the Parts and Service Director at Zimmerman Honda. I've been with Zimmerman Honda for 31 years, so we've been in business 72 years, so we've been around quite a while. We're a family-owned business, and volume speaks for us. As far as I've been here 31, the gentleman I took over with was here 39 years. So it speaks volumes for the store. We are obviously a Honda dealership, and I look forward to giving my input today.
Love it. And Matthew, you and I were speaking in the green room many years ago. I was in Virginia and met a young Toyota dealer named Steven Sodikoff, and glad to hear that that's your dad.
The legacy lives on. My name is Matthew Sodikoff, and I'm the Service and Parts Director for our Stephen Automotive Group. We have Toyota, Kia, and Nissan. And we've been here about 30 years. I thought we had a lot of experience in our building, but don't really hold a lot to Brandon and Gary there. But we do a good job. We have a lot of people that have been with us for over 20 years. I've been doing this fixed ops director role for 12 years myself, and previously did everything from washing cars, selling cars, parts manager, service manager, and now the director. So excited to be here, share knowledge, and gain some knowledge.
Love it. Welcome, Matthew. Thank you for coming. And Geno Walsh, I see you everywhere on social media. So tell us a little bit about who you are and for those who may not know.
Yeah, Geno Walsh, Executive Manager of Operations for the Cavalli Auto Group. We've been in business since 1947. So, Gary, we got you by a couple of years. This will be our 77th year when we flip the clock on January 1st. I've been with the company for 13 years and started off as an internet sales manager, then became a sales manager, general sales manager, operations manager, general manager. Part of our story of how you retain team members is by giving them the path forward, and working with a company that's been in business for that long. It's really cool to see some of the folks and where they've gone in the branches, and some of the people that stayed with us and some people that have left. It's still good to see that tree that continues to grow. So,
and Geno,
Florida, by the way, so you have a Volkswagen store that's in Tampa, in the Brandon area. We have an Audi store, Maserati, and an Alfa Romeo. So we're right down the street in St. Pete.
Geno, you've been on before several times on the Roundtable, and you've been involved with a lot of successful initiatives, a lot of pioneering things, just even a few years back that today have become very much mainstream, a part of what we do. So excited to have everybody here. And Geno, if I can lead off with you, maybe what initiatives, RepairPal and otherwise, have been successful in retaining and motivating your employees? And I know you've probably got a whole lot to choose from there.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I was just thinking about that. What you were just saying about us starting some initiatives. If you guys can see this queue that's right next to us, we put a road in there on purpose, and part of that's our logo. And what it means for us is that we always want to be on the road ahead. And what that means, we want to try things that nobody's tried before, and we're going to make mistakes, obviously. But we focus a lot of what we do in developing any of the initiatives that we have off of 3 T's, which is trust, transparency, and time efficiency. And the great part about RepairPal is when they came to us and said, hey, we've got this widget, we've got this tool. And I kind of checked down the boxes and I said, okay, does it foster trust? Not only for the consumer, but for the people that work at the store level. Check, that box was done. Does it foster transparency? And, when you're giving customers ranges and prices on their particular vehicle or their particular bin in their particular market, it checks that off. And then the time efficiency, it's actually helped our team members, especially the service BDC team members, to be able to give information to the customer so that they can make a fast buying decision. And part of that is like, okay, so this tool, because it follows those 3 T's, gives us an opportunity to retain an employee, because now they are empowered to communicate with customers. They don't have to ask their manager. They don't have to ask somebody who's probably working with the customer out in the service lane, right? They can actually have that information. And then of course, we'll retain your customers too, because they have the ability to access that information no matter what time during the day. All they have to do is jump on the website. So we love RepairPal, but that's kind of the thing that keeps us with that customer retention and that employee retention, being on the road ahead, right? Being on the road ahead, and trying some initiatives. I know there's some people on here that have been on a little bit longer, but trying some initiatives that not too many people have done. That's what I think helps foster the retention of both customers and team members.
And Geno, you mentioned a couple words there. One of them was transparency, and transparency has now come to fixed operations. I remember some years back when we started bringing it into the F&I office and being more transparent with customers. But today, the service process, and especially the things you're describing, to help build that trust, which I know all of your organizations have obviously built that. You've been in business quite a while. Geno, that transparency is probably more important than ever.
Yeah, well, we flipped over our service process about 3 years ago now. We're basically at the per-year mark at 2 B's, which is what they promised. And that's a completely transparent process. I don't know. But that's a completely transparent process. And that process has really been able to help us actually recruit folks that, were working in the service lane as valets. And we turned them into advisors, because the the technology is actually sped up their learning process. And all we're looking for is people really with high capacity to communicate with customers, and then have really good character. And then we give them the technology, and they just flourish. It's awesome to watch it happen. There's a gentleman that's at our Lakeland store, and I'll just leave you with this, but his name's Stefano. He was a valet at a BMW store. He drove an Audi, and he came over. He goes, "I can't work for BMW because I love Audi." And we said, "Well, we don't have a position for you except for maybe a service advisor." And he said, raised his hand, "Let me do it," right? And we put him in as a junior service advisor. And last month, he wrote the most amount of business in a record-breaking October for us. And he's been with us for 6 months. So those are some of the cool stories that you get from having with tools like RepairPal or Update Promise or any of the other ones that I'm sure we're going to hear about here in the future. And I think that helps not only foster the customer retention, but you take a guy who is making $10 an hour, cleaning cars and parking them, and then give him an opportunity to make life-changing money. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely, it is. And you mentioned a couple great things there, a couple great products. Brandon, let me come over to you because you're heading up fixed operations, over a large amount of, land, states and so on. Tell us maybe what initiatives have been successful in helping you retain and motivate employees there.
I mean, everything obviously comes back to effort on the ground with people. We tried to be reactive and listen to the issues that technicians run into. Warranty time's no good. All right, I'll bump it by 20% from here on. We try to be fair. We try to show people transparency. Geno says it really well when you talk about a product like RepairPal specifically. You're really weaponizing the things that your dealership does best against everybody. You're showing your staff as well as your potential customers that you're really good at CSI, that you're really excellent at taking care of them. You can show them how quick your throughput is because you can operate it with same day appointments available or even 1 day appointments. You're no longer you're showing them a very transparent pricing feature as well. So all of your advisors, as well as your technicians, you have meetings, you show these people, these products, these initiatives that you've rolled out, and you can show everybody, hey, our pricing, the next guy might be afraid to show it, but we're not afraid to show it. And we achieve all of these numbers at such a high rate: throughput, customer service, pricing. We're so fair, we're so ethical that we're willing to show people it. Just like, new car sales has become an internet game. It's embracing the fact that service is it's got to be more than 50% there already, but it's on its way there. So,
and Brandon, I've heard that a tool like RepairPal gives the advisors or the service writers, if you will, confidence, in dealing with their customer. Any truth to that?
Absolutely. You use it as a confidence builder that you are within the ballpark of, what they should be paying for this alternator or this water pump, whatever the failure may be. And it also, like I said, gives confidence to the advisors that we're even willing to show people that. A lot of your service advisors, mine included, I'm generalizing, they think that our prices are probably pretty outrageous, and they have not shopped your competition. They haven't shopped another dealer. They haven't shopped the small guy. They haven't shopped any of these mom and pop shops. And frankly, you're not outrageous. Your oil change is just as good as Take 5. Your pricing might be leaps and bounds better than the next dealer around the corner. And this kind of gives you that ability where they don't have to sit there and call a dealer and find this out, because we're certainly not going to sit there and do that every day. But it does allow you to be transparent with your pricing through a mutual tool that anybody can look at.
Thank you, Brandon. Gary, what about you? What initiatives have you been involved with there that would help, retain and motivate your employees?
One of the main things that we brought on is, and as Brandon mentioned it, our employees think our pricing's high. And it truly isn't. When we brought RepairPal on, and they have to do the market survey, and this is where you need to be, it's like, wow, we fall within that without even making price adjustments, but it gives us the tool as far as transparency that if a customer does ask one of the people I work with, oh, I think you're a little too high, then we bring up the website, we show them, and, it's a third-party vendor. And you have to use the tool, because the other thing Brandon touched upon, which I wholeheartedly agree, is that the perception is dealers are expensive, and that's not true. We are very competitive, and sometimes in a lot of areas, we are the lowest price as far as services do, whether it's oil changes, whether it's maintenance, whether it's full repairs, because when we make a diagnosis, we get it fixed right the first time. And, RepairPal just helps us reinforce the transparency that, we want to run within our organization and stuff. And the thing you'll always hear me say is, I don't say my employees or our employees, it's always the people I work with. I don't like the word employees, because they're the people I work with. So, RepairPal has been fantastic for us. And, what else can I say other than it's a great tool that we can put in our arsenal to help build us and stuff and get our market share up and stuff. And, for me, I was the first one on it in our area. And one of the competitors that seems to always follow me, they got their stores on it now too. So, but I'd rather be the leader, and I want to be a leader, not a follower. So you always look for a competitive edge, and RepairPal gives us a competitive edge.
Gary, wonderful news. Can I do a quick follow-up with Geno before I come over to Matthew? Geno, being a leader yourself, I know that Cavalli's been on RepairPal not a very long time, and you can tell us exactly how long, but what have you seen so far?
The number one thing I've seen so far is outbound appointments for our service BDC. They don't have to wait to find out. So they're they're doing some cold calling, right? They're looking through lists of people who haven't been in the service department for 12 months, 13 months, whatever it is. And they pick up the phone, and they can, obviously if there's a recall on that particular VIN number, they're going to try to set the appointment for the recall. But then a customer asks them a question, regarding brakes or regarding water pump or regarding an alternator or check engine light, right? Those advisors downstairs have been super busy, right? Like it's, especially in the Tampa market, we can't get enough people. I don't know if Brandon has the same problem. We can't get enough team members to join us, because I'm opening requisitions all the time because so many people moving to Tampa. 3,000 people a day moving to the Tampa market. You're talking 365,000 new customer base, and they're just busy. And if the service BDC person's got somebody that's live on the phone, that RepairPal is a lifesaver for them to set that appointment, right? And it really helps the customer's satisfaction rate, right? So our MPS scores, our 3-question scores from BW, and also our CSI scores have gone through the roof, because the customer gets the information that they need as fast as possible. And the RepairPal really kind of fit in nice and easy for somebody who's a service BDC person who's never worked the lane, right? The cool thing about it is now I can see the future, right? And I can say, okay, look, and we've done this before already, we've taken a service BDC manager or a service BDC associate, and now that they've had some RepairPal experience and they understand how the system works, we put them down there and become a service advisor. And that's kind of the track in which they can develop, and they can also make and earn more money and become a better version of who they are as a person. So it's with RepairPal, we've only had it for a little bit, but I don't think I want to get rid of it anytime soon.
I love it. All right, Matthew, I've been saving you here for last. What initiatives have been most successful in retaining and motivating your employees?
So we like to say around here that whatever we do should be good for the dealership, good for the customers, and good for the employees. And we found that RepairPal pretty much hits on all three of those cylinders. For the guests, it allows them to have transparent pricing, which means we have integrity. We are able to disclose how much we're going to price. I really haven't heard of a situation yet where a customer has found a price that when we price the job regularly, is exceeding the cap on what the job is. So our prices are in line with RepairPal. So for the customer transactions, it helps grow our business by being transparent, and it helps drive business to us, because we were looking and you didn't consider the dealership because you thought we might be too expensive, that now we're actually in line. So I find that it's good for the guests. For the employees, RepairPal does more than just help us price jobs. It does make it easier for the employees to sell a service to show that it's competitively priced. But additionally, RepairPal does tow vehicles to us that are broken down. We appreciate the cars that they help us coordinate. And then from there, once the cars are here, RepairPal helps us sell the repairs to those cars that are towed in. So it's good for the dealership in that front and for the employees. And there's not that many things that are pretty easy, that don't take a lot of training, that are intuitive enough where a customer can search it on the internet, look for something of what they need, and then connect the dots to set an appointment for our store. And just this morning, I actually haven't seen it before, but somebody inquired about a recall through RepairPal today. So they submitted all their information to our dealership through RepairPal, and we reached out to them directly and coordinated whatever the repair was for their recall. So it's been a very valuable tool. It's helped us grow the business and make happier customers, happier employees.
Let me ask you all about customer feedback and what you've heard so far from your external customers who are doing business with you. Brandon, we've heard a lot of the benefits. You're all speaking about trust, transparency. I mean, these are the words today in fixed operations and service. Brandon, what have you heard from your customers who've engaged with your dealership with RepairPal?
Customers are, the way that I kind of have heard it, and I'm actually using it a lot. I'm part of a lot of Jeep groups, and I go on these Jeep pages, and there's thousands of members, and they'll say, hey, I have this picture of an underside of a Jeep, no year, no model. I mean, I assume it's a Wrangler. And they say it has this oil leak. What do you guys think? And all these guys join on these internet keyboard warriors, and they say, you need this in the rear main, and you need an oil cooler. They tell them all these crazy things. And I've been seeing all these numbers fly by on these websites, and I have just started posting them to RepairPal. Because if I reply to RepairPal, then I'm not playing the dealership card. I'm not saying my name. I'm not saying you should come to me. My name's on the side. And, I'm biased. I think it's a great place. I just put RepairPal. RepairPal basically navigates them to me on the backside. And I've actually started to get pretty good purchase with it. I've gotten, I think, around 14 cars last month from it. So, I mean, minimal effort. And what I'm seeing is people are kind of actually surprised. And like Gary said, people think I am the most expensive. They also think I take the longest, and they think my people are going to lie to them. This is the mystique that people, have towards dealerships. I guess that is more of a positive word that I'm looking for, but I'm looking for something more negative. People don't really have a great opinion of dealerships, and it helps me prove to them that they should have a really good opinion of me, because it's a third-party source telling them, hey, actually, here's our recommendation. Go to this dealership,
Makes a lot of sense. Great points. Gary, you represent the Honda franchise there. And, from what I remember, Hondas don't need a whole lot of service, okay? They don't need a whole lot of, attention other than maybe oil changes. And, talk to us specifically about how RepairPal benefits you there with the Honda customer, who is in love with that product and, maybe just needs an oil change. And we all know that's not true, but take us through it.
Yeah, with RepairPal, the thing that, I was really concerned about was when they go out and price us and stuff like that is, are we looking at the OEM pricing and stuff like that? And it is true, yes. And because that helps break down barriers, because, I won't bring up other companies' names as far as auto parts stores, but yes, is the genuine OEM Honda part a better quality and a better fit than a lot of the aftermarkets? Absolutely. But what RepairPal has done as far as that is, it helps us that way. And in the Quad Cities, that's what my metro is known as in Moline, Illinois. Our name's extremely, well known as far as it's quality work at a quality price. And, we take care of our customers. But it's helped reach outside the 40, 50, 60 miles in there, range, because for us, other than the Honda dealer that's just across the river about 10 miles away, there's not another Honda dealer for approximately 90 miles each way other than that. And it's helped us get into that gray area where people aren't aware of us. And by being one of the first ones on RepairPal in this area, it's brought in the outside customers in that gray area, that are 40, 50, 60 miles away that went to their local independent shops. But now that they're pricing us, and saying, oh, I can do that, even though it's an inconvenience, they know because of our reputation. If they go to DealerRater or wherever, we have a phenomenal reputation and we take care of our customers. Our retention is second to none in the Quad Cities and with American Honda. I mean, you know, it's crazy. We own 74.6% of our market here. And doesn't leave much to the other Honda dealers. So it's about retention. It's about internal and external retention.
Matthew, just about the same question on the Toyota product. Those Toyotas, you know, they don't break, do they? I mean, they just need oil changes, and that's why I buy a Toyota.
Yeah, pretty accurate. But it does at the same rate when things do go wrong. I bet nobody that's watching this and nobody that's in this room right now buys things online where they don't know how much they cost. And it's hard for us as a dealership to price every single service for every single make, for every single model, and be transparent about it. So we actually recently added the little widget right next to our service scheduler webpage. So when you go to schedule a service at Stephen Toyota, Kia, or Nissan, the widget pops up. And if you want to question what you need, about how much it would be, it's all right there. So it just allows it to flow smoother. And honestly, I feel like it saves time from inbound phone calls, because being a car dealership, I would bet clients think that it's very easy to know how much a water pump costs for any year, make, and model in a half a second. But sometimes we have to walk to the parts department and find out if we have it in stock, and ask a technician for the labor time. So having a quick, concise manner to get the information accurately, it's hard to argue with it. And so just a real thing that drives business.
Gentlemen, last question for today. It's a lightning round. I'll start with Geno, go over to Brandon, and over to Gary, and then Matthew to bring it home. Sort of a big picture question. Here we are, week before Thanksgiving. We got maybe 7 weeks left in the year. And we're going to be in 2024 in a blink of an eye, okay? And so much has happened in the last couple of years, and you've all been a huge part of that. Where do you see our dealership industry heading in the next few years? Particularly when it concerns things such as retaining those customers, the transparency and trust. You know, where do you see us headed, and how does this all kind of fit together with what we're doing here today? Geno, I'll start with you.
But, you know, it's funny that you're on the Avengers of automotive, and I was listening to my other peers here on here, and it reminds me, it's almost like we went in a time machine back to when internet sales first happened for the variable side, right? And everybody was so scared to actually give customers numbers, right? And it's been like that for a while in service too. But in sales, we used to say, just get them in, right? And listening to, you know, some of the great wins that everybody on this panel has had, you know, I think the more that we give our consumers that upfront, transparent process, especially on the service end of it, because these direct-to-consumer manufacturers, there is nobody speaking to them. Like, right, pick up the phone and call Google, right? Pick up the phone and call Tesla. Like, it's not the exact same experience as picking up the phone and speaking to somebody who's been in business for 60, 70, 80 years, 30 years, right? Because we're embedded in the community, right? Our fibers in the community. And I think the further we go out and the more electric vehicles that are out there, the BEV vehicles or the ICE vehicles or whatever's out there, the more of a competitive advantage we're going to have versus the direct to the consumer manufacturers, and versus the folks that aren't franchise reconditioning centers, right? The shops that, I mean, I don't know if you guys have been getting your bills lately on these BEV cars, but I got a $12,000 panel that I had to get for Maserati just to move the battery back and forth, right? I don't know how these local mechanic shops are going to stay in business or stay competitive versus us. And I think what will really help us is not only do we have the technology that supports it and the transparency that supports it, but we have the thread in the community that supports it. And that's why I see what's going to happen in 2024 and beyond. As we get more fascinating vehicles as far as technology is concerned, I think our consumers are going to need more information from us, from people that they trust, and from people that are going to be transparent and give them something that will help them make proper decisions, whether it's for service or sales.
Great points, especially on that being embedded in the community there. I love that, Geno, so strong. Brandon, where are we headed next couple of years in our industry?
I don't want to overstep myself, but I think that all manufacturers are in a tumultuous situation on where the future of the electric car is headed. It's coming 100%. There's some form of electric cars coming, but there's still going to be ICE engines from the sounds of it. Regardless, vehicles are more sophisticated. People have to go to dealerships. To me, an electric car is going to have less unique features that differentiate it. There's no noise coming out of the engine unless it's that goofy Magnavox thing that the Challenger that they made does. There's no performance. The performance is relatively comparable between any given electric car, depending on motor. So you start to think that the dealer has to offer more than just people like my Dodge or people like my Jeep. It's not, that's not good enough anymore. We have to be superior at retaining the customer. Gary, I don't want to one-up you. I'm at about 80% of market retention right now, and I'm really proud of it. So I know exactly why you say that, because I'm massively proud of that number. And the entire job to me as a fixed operations director is retaining employees, retaining customers, retaining customers, and retaining customers. And if you're not focused on that every single day in the trenches with your people, making sure that they aren't ruining your reputation with your customers, making sure that we're getting every chance we can to bring those customers back to this dealership. I mean, like I said, we have to be more than just you buy your car here and you do your oil change here, because it's really not good enough anymore. Maybe you have to be charitable. Maybe there has to be a coffee shop on your premises. I don't know what the answer is, but there will 100% be less ICE engines on the road next year, the year after, just naturally, regardless of how big this electric thing becomes. And the more sophisticated cars become, the more reason they have to come to a dealer. But the moment they need tires, the moment they need the basic maintenance that comes with these things, tire rotations for free, wiper blades, simple little things, maybe a window regulator once it's out of warranty, they'll start to feel like they can go to an aftermarket. And those aftermarkets are 100% geared up to put tires and tire rotations, wiper blades on these cars. So if you're not keeping them throughout their period of doing their warranty, their updates, their recalls, if you're not, taking advantage of every one of those situations and making sure that they do come back because they love you, they love Gary, they love Matthew, they love Geno, they want to come to your dealership, then we're not going to be here anymore, and there are going to be weak dealers that are going to disappear throughout this, because dealer retention is being talked about right now because it's poor. We're not good at it. And generalizing, because I think the people in the room are pretty good at it. Yeah, but, I have my days, and I have 3 stores. Only one's like really good at it. I'll throw that out there for myself.
Right. Thank you, Brandon. And Gary, where are we headed next couple of years? And then Matthew to bring it home.
For me personally, all I see for us is growth. If you have to look at yourself, you have to look within the people you work with. And my philosophy from day one, when I took over in management, 40 years ago, I'm old, but is you treat everybody coming through the door like it's your mother, brother, father, sister. Yeah. That includes your internal customers, which is the people I work with. It includes our true customers that are on our service drive. And I don't know why people cannot do that, because the thing I stress to the people I work with is I don't want good customers. I want loyal customers. Huge difference. Good customers, you still have to sell them. Loyal customers, before you can get out of your mouth, they're telling you, go ahead and do it because they trust you. And you have to have a passion about the business. And that's what's so phenomenal, because people say, well, how do you do it? How do you do it? It's all about people and processes. Oh, it's got to be, there's some little magic pill. No, it's about doing the right things, doing it, respectfully, and have integrity and ethics. It's so simple, but somehow so many business, even outside the dealerships, they muck it up. And not every day is utopia here, trust me. But guess what? The one thing I'm good at is when we do mess up, I follow up and I am able to retain most of those customers. And it's amazing when we do mess up and they get a phone call from me. And whether it's through an email they sent me or possibly one of the service consultants spoke to me about it, they feel, oh, I can't believe you called me. And it just amazes me that people cannot believe that somebody reached out to discuss their concern with them, and maybe we're at fault, maybe we're not, but if you don't do your due diligence, how can you improve upon yourself and your business?
Matthew Sodikoff, bring it home.
I'm pretty optimistic about the future of the auto industry. I feel like, we sell cars. Yes, we fix cars. In reality, though, I feel like we're in the people business. And every day we try to get our people to have good processes in place and get them to take ownership of the customer's experience every day. And as long as we stay on the forefront of doing that and we use technology to help, and as Geno mentioned earlier, just trying things, not all of them are going to be successful. In fact, I feel like if you're not trying to do things different and you're not failing, then you're probably not trying hard enough. So we're going to fail in the future, definitely. But we ask our employees to tell us what we do wrong so we don't intentionally harm anybody. But the reality is, I feel like being that most car dealerships are entrepreneurial businesses, that we find a way. And when there's challenges, we overcome them. And it takes a solid group of people on a solid team. And when you have that in place, the sky's the limit. So it's really just a people business, and the technology helps, but making sure you have the right people taking care of our guests are really where we strive. And I feel like that's the future of what makes us better than the direct from the manufacturer sales. And if they do that and start in the front, and they say the sales department sells the first car and the service department sells all the rest of them, as long as that mentality continues, the sky's the limit for the industry.
Matthew, Geno, Brandon, and Gary, I want to wish you and your families a very happy Thanksgiving next week. And thank you as leaders for all you do for our industry. And we're very grateful to all of you. Everybody, for more information on RepairPal, you can visit RepairPal online at repairpal.com/dealers. We have a lot of dealers here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable who are certified RepairPal dealers. So a great platform to be on. Brandon, Gary, Geno, and Matthew, thank you so much for what you do.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, all.
Everybody, the RepairPal panel here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Service customers are key to healthy dealer profits. However, keeping customers for service and repair presents a big challenge. Over 80% of car owners stop using dealers over the years after their warranty expires. And 3 of 4 go online to research pricing. The reason? People think dealers overcharge for service and repair. That is where RepairPal can help. Each month, millions of customers trust RepairPal to find high-quality auto repair at prices that are fair and transparent. And we're talking repairs, not oil changes. The average RepairPal customer spends over $600 each visit. By becoming a RepairPal certified dealer, you benefit from our industry-leading estimator that gives customers confidence your prices are fair, overcoming their main reason to stop servicing with you. The result? You grow your fixed ops business and attract new customers from RepairPal and our partners. Learn more about dealer certification at repairpal.com/dealers.
The Fixed Ops Roundtable is excited to announce the launch of our new certified program. It is designed to recognize dealerships and partners that demonstrate exceptional performance. Learn more by visiting fixedopsroundtablecertified.com.
Just like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the heroes at Carolina BG are here to tell us more at our pop-up event.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. We're at Apple Tree Honda in Asheville, North Carolina. Ted, we have some special guests on our panel today.
We do. And, one of the unique things about the Fixed Ops Roundtable is that we feature the special relationship that BG products and their distributors have with their local retailers. So, gentlemen, if you would introduce yourselves and tell us what you do.
Good morning, Ted. Thank you. I'm Perry Lindsay. I work with Carolina BG. I work with them in a capacity of strategic development and overseeing our major accounts, much like Apple Tree Honda.
Rich Lupo, Service Director at Apple Tree Honda and Apple Tree Acura.
Well, so Perry, thank you so much for all you do for our industry, and we are greatly appreciative of BG. And I want to talk to you a little bit today about on the distributor level, some of the things that you do. First of all, how did you gentlemen get together, and tell us a little bit of the backstory on that.
Yeah, sure. Great question. So, Ted, Rich came to Asheville, Apple Tree Honda, a few years back. We have a great relationship here with the ownership, and Rich was new, was coming in the fixed ops role, and we had not had a relationship with Rich, so we wanted to plug in to make sure we're doing and what he demands of us. So a couple of years ago, reached out to him and set a meeting, and we've kind of propelled up to this point.
I came in a few years ago. We relocated to the Western North Carolina region here, south of Asheville, and came to work for Apple Tree, the Locke family, and there was a legacy relationship with BG. It goes back a long time, and we evaluated that when we got here, and honestly found that it was the best partnership that we could have, and so we continued on, and it's been a great relationship, Perry.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Sarah, one of the things that we've heard a lot about is BG Products is your partner beyond products. So, gentlemen, tell us a little bit about that. If you would, Perry, give us a little bit of the information on some of the training and support that you provide here at the dealership level.
Yeah, sure. From our perspective, when we go into a dealership, our vision is to help the service drive culture. How do we plug in with the service advisors and the technicians as well? But in the service drive, for years, our perspective is how do we change their view when the customer comes in, and do we educate every customer the same way? Are we just taking orders, or are we changing the processing culture on how to get that advisor to open up and ask questions and educate the consumer based on what their needs are, and so they feel like it's been a rewarding experience to bring their car into a facility like Apple Tree.
And Rich?
We obviously have a very long relationship with Honda and Acura. 50 years recently. We received our 50-year award as a dealer, and BG works in concert with what we do with our Honda and Acura customers. The amount of support that Perry and his team provide for us is truly best that I've experienced in over 30 years doing this job in this business. When you need training, they're on the ball. They get here. They'll have after-hours training, before-time training. They'll pull a couple of service advisors off the service drive and feed them lunch and do it that way. However we want to do it, they serve our needs that way. Product delivery, we're never out of stock. We're never overstocked. All of those things, the rewards, all of those things, it's just 360 degrees. Ingrid, who is a great part of your staff, worked with us to develop a menu, all of those things. It's just a very comprehensive, very supportive relationship we have with BG, and I'm glad that we have the relationship that we do.
Thank you so much.
Well, Rich, it sounds like there's an incredible amount that BG does to help the service advisors. Could you tell us a little bit? So A lot of customers are coming into service drives today and they're looking at their owner's manual and they're saying, well, here's the factory recommended maintenance, but people are owning their vehicles longer than ever. So how does BG help your advisors carry those conversations with your customers?
There's a couple things, Sarah. We know that some of the additives, some of the products that they offer do extend the life of the vehicle. And we also know that when we present the products to our customers, along with the comprehensive package of not just the product, but what BG offers in extending the warranty of the vehicle. So if you have your power steering system serviced with BG products, they extend a warranty to you on all the components of that system. And so one of the selling points to our customers is, as people are keeping their cars and they're aging, they fall out of the factory warranty and many times out of the extended warranty that they purchased initially. And BG's there to help supplement that and give value to our customers. And I said it works in concert with what we do with our long-serving relationship with Honda and Acura.
You know, Perry, that's a great point. I did hear recently that the average vehicle on the road today, 12 and a half years, the highest in history in terms of age of vehicles out there. I would imagine that plays right into your wheelhouse at BG and everything Richard's doing here as well.
Yeah, sure. If you look at, just look at post-COVID, the 21 and 22 year models have went away a little bit. The average year car coming in the service drive is in that 18 to 19 year model year with 60 plus thousand miles. They're in the most profitable years of ownership, but how does that customer understand the value of servicing that component, and how we can tie our lifetime protection plan into that consumer and really turn that into a positive and a retention tool as well for the dealer.
Yeah. 100%.
Yep.
And Perry, I know dealers have, several choices out there, but really, there really is only one choice with BG, because all of the testing, the lab work that's being done on BG's products that are out there in the field, the innovation that's taking place at headquarters, then goes out into the field, it's really second to none what you offer the dealers here.
Oh, most certainly. If you look around the market, you don't see our competition, if you will, doing the testing and the research that we do based on science. We want to prove our theories and then take our theories to the market so the client understands why we are better and how we can help continue that life of that automobile.
And the training, the support, the protection plan that BG offers, and also the things like the smart VMA, the menu tools, really enhance what the service advisor is able to offer out on the drive, because you give them all the tools and the training with which to present that.
Yeah, certainly. Good point on the menu, smart VMA. If you look at the automotive industry, as I view it anyway, for years, finance, F&I, has done a fantastic job of putting a menu process in place. But if you go to the service, the fix side of the business, what does that advisor have to use, and is it comprehensive? Is it based on VIN? Do we understand what the customer needs, what the vehicle needs? Now we have that tool in place with Smart VMA, so every customer gets the same education every visit.
And Richard, is that consistency important to you, in leading the service and parts and fixed operations here at the dealership level?
Absolutely. Anytime you can bring real consistency to a process, it benefits not only the customer, but the dealer as well. If we're not doing a consistent job, presenting things to the customer that need to be presented, that are timely and relevant to the service needs of their vehicle, then we're not doing them the service that we advertise ourselves to do. So at that point, the consistency of the presentation, the menu process, all of those things, it's something that our customers have come to expect from AppleTree, because we've been involved with BG so long.
Well, Rich, congratulations to you. Honda dealership here, 50 plus years. And Perry, congratulations to you as well at Carolina BG for all the great work that you're doing out in the field. And Sarah, it's great to see not only the best dealers around the country, but the best BG distributors as well, offering all the services and products they do at the dealer level.
It's incredible to see how Perry and Rich have been working together and bringing that local support to their customers and dealers.
Everybody, we're here at Apple Tree Honda and Acura. We're in Asheville, North Carolina. Don't go away. We will be right back.
Signs. They tell you the road, places you're going, the promise that awaits. No matter where you go, when you see this sign, it means I take my car here and it runs better and lasts longer, guaranteed. It's a bold statement, but it's one that BG has proven over and over for more than 50 years. It all started when the founders of BG Products in Wichita, Kansas were looking for a breakthrough. They developed the first BG formula. Skeptics said it wouldn't work. Anyone who tried it knew that it did. Pour it in, and engine performance and life improved, just like that. But BG wasn't about to be contained to a can. What started in the engine spread to every working part of every kind of vehicle and to every part of the world. Because all BG products and services have one ingredient in common: innovation. Through cutting-edge research and development, state-of-the-art resources, and an unwavering commitment to quality, BG leads the way with proven solutions of real-world drivability problems. That's why, worldwide, professionals use BG products, services, tools, and equipment every day. And why every year professionals from around the world attend BG University, the most advanced client success program in the industry. And why everything BG does is proven to deliver customer satisfaction and retention. Today, customers don't just look for a shop, they look for a BG shop. What can take a product from the heart of America into the hearts and minds of car owners all over the world? This sign and what it means. Now, ask what BG means to you. Because BG works worldwide.
Here with the discussion on parts, the opportunities, and an insight on what's ahead is the go-to parts girl, Kaylee Felio, with Ed Roberts and Ted Ings.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We have a great panel ahead with both Kaylee Felio from PartsEdge and Ed Roberts from Bozard, Ford, Lincoln, author of Mile One. Kaylee and Ed, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. Glad to be here. And man, look at what we got in front of us here.
I know, right? And, you know, Kaylee, no one better than yourself and Ed to talk about parts. And here we are, we're now in the fourth quarter, coming up to the next 2.5 months, or 2 months, not even, right? Balance of the year. And we're going to be in a new year. Okay. So I want to kind of pick your brain with the audience today. And, Ed, if I could start with you, what are your main focuses for the parts business for the balance of 2023? And there's a lot of ways we can go with that, but I'm curious as to what you're doing there at Bozard Ford Lincoln.
Well, I like to be prepared, and let's talk with the audience there a bit. And we're closing in on the end of 2023, where most of us are going to be doing some type of parts inventory. We're going to highlight those parts that we've been kicking around and trying to make a decision about for so long. But ultimately, there's two inventories that the dealer owns, and that's used car inventory and parts inventory. And every day that a used car sits on the lot, it loses value and becomes underwater. And every day that we hang on to that part that we have been kicking around for the last 2 years is less inventory that we can have that really gives us the breath to take care of our customers better. So now is cleanup time. Let's get whatever value we can get out of some of those obsolescence that we've been hanging on to, even if it's 10 cents on the dollar. Let's get rid of it. Let's turn that into inventory that we can make happen. Let's widen our breadth of the inventory that's moving. Let's focus on our phase ins, our phase outs. Let's prepare ourselves to rock and roll in 2024. And that starts with letting go of the things that we've been trying to hang on to for eternity.
Kaylee, you did a segment not too long ago about comparing the parts inventory with the used vehicle inventory. So that's right in your wheelhouse. And look at all the focus that we put on used vehicle inventory. And now especially on turning that inventory really quick, reconditioning it, days to front line, and how we measure the days. Different dealers have different measurements. Kaylee, this seems like the right time of year to really be honing in on that going into the new year.
It really is. And you know what? I'm actually speaking at NADA about birthdays are for people, not parts. So I didn't even realize that's, that totally goes with what we're talking about. And that's what we do. I think, at the end of the year, we really put a heavy focus on obsolescence, but it should be something that we're focusing on all year long because the worst thing you can do is get rid of it and then it keeps coming back. And not being proactive with, why do you have so much? What is going on? How can we control this idle inventory a little bit more effectively? So I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what I think.
Well, parts managers, yeah, go ahead. Parts managers has a tough time of letting go of these things, and one of the things that I preach a lot around here at Bozard is let's restate whatever you're trying to state without using 3 words, and that's but, because, or just. I'm hanging on to that because, but and when all 3 of those things are really an opportunity to set you up for an excuse. And if we remove those things out of our vocabulary, there's not really a whole lot of reason why we should hang on to that stuff. And yes, if parts should not have birthdays, our used car inventory, there's some of us out there that may hang on stuff for 60 days. That's really a bit long as well. But some of us hang on to them for 90. And at 120, somebody's jumping up and down. Well, then why are we hanging on to something that's 368 days old? Let it go. And don't use the word but, just, or because to hang on to it.
I think it's just a hard thing to let go of. I don't know. Like, think about when you're cleaning out your house and like you have all this stuff that you're like, oh, but I'm going to use this one day. If you haven't used it in a year, you're not going to use it.
I think we can all walk through our closet and find some of that stuff. And if we truly need to make room, there's tons of opportunity there. It's a mindset, and this is our opportunity to clean it up.
Like one part, like you can just keep one. Just like an outfit, just keep one and then the rest go.
There you go.
I thought the panel that we did just a little while ago, Sean Kingy was on there, and I liked the term he said, Kaylee. He said he doesn't have meetings. He has huddles, okay, at his dealership. Ed, I'm curious, how do you huddle with your team to make sure that they're staying focused on that parts inventories, that they're not having birthdays? I know we do it on the used car side, but any recommendations, any best practices that you would have for the audience today, and some of the things that, because everyone looks to Bozard for best practices, Ed?
Well, it's setting expectation, and you can't really set expectation if you don't talk to your people. You can't set an expectation by talking to your parts manager, and that's as far as it goes. It has to carry down. And yes, I love the terminology that Sean uses on that on huddles. We have different meetings every day. We have some every other week or whatever. But we meet with our techs every day. We meet with our parts people once a week, and then we meet with advisors every other week, and it carries out throughout. But you can't push those things down if you don't talk about them, if you don't get them out in the open. And so communication is key. And some of our people may think it's okay to hang on to that part that we used to sell 10 of a month. And if we don't communicate those things to them, they may not have ever heard of the word obsolescent. They may not have ever understood that that part needs to go away after it's been there for 200 days. We have to set a standard and then communicate that standard down there where everybody understands it.
Ed, that's right. If we don't communicate it, some people may think that's okay because we don't talk about it. And if we don't talk about it, they don't hear about obsolescence. And, that birthday, if you will, Kaylee, is, not so important if we're not communicating. So, Kaylee, I think that's really important. And Ed made the point in the green room, Kaylee, earlier, that a lot of parts personnel in dealerships, not all, but many are the least trained, Kaylee, in dealerships. And I thought that was a great point.
It is a great point because if you really look at what they're responsible for, some dealerships have over $500,000. Let's just say that's the average. That's a lot of money that they're managing per se. And then we're not providing training for them, and they're the least trained. So it's just, and was it Sean that mentioned, was it Sean or Jim mentioned like working the inventory? Parts managers, really need to work the inventory and work that money basically to produce more profit and be more efficient. So, parts managers, we need to focus on training and providing them resources, especially even seasoned ones that have been in it for years, because things are always changing. And like I think Ed has mentioned numerous times, we know what we don't know, or we know what we don't know. I say it the same way. I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
But let's carry that a little bit further. Our parts personnel are the least trained. That we don't train our parts personnel as a rule in most stores. And so if they're the least trained, they're not only the least trained, we also have the least amount of guidelines back there. And so we know when a used car gets to a certain point that it has to go. But we're making a decision at inventory time where that inventory needs to go. Well, like you said, Kaylee, it needs to be a year. It needs to be ongoing. There needs to be a guideline that once it hits this threshold, we got to get rid of it, because they probably already had 2 phone calls on it and we hung on to it because it's the last one that we had. And because there's no guideline, but there's a guideline to it. So not only do we need to work on training, but we need to work on the structure that we put in place for our parts department so that things happen automatically. It's a process rather than a decision. If you're making decisions on when things need to go, then you don't have a process for them to happen automatically. And that's just like the phase in, phase out stuff. We set those things up and it becomes an automated process. Well, there's some things that aren't automated that we have to control. And those are the things that we got to focus on and put the structure in the parts department, and not be afraid to spend the money to train our people on it. Communicate it down to them, but then train them on the reasons why.
Yeah.
Kaylee, PartsEdge, you provide a lot of resources to help dealers with inventory. Tell us a little bit about that, because this, again, back in your wheelhouse at Parts.
I could go in so many different directions with it, but really what I like how you mentioned guidelines and structure, because if we don't have that in place, then you're just reacting to what comes up. So I think that's really what PartsEdge helps provide to parts managers and the team, is really giving that structure, giving those guidelines, proactive in, staying ahead of, the different, I always call them categories of your different key categories of your inventory, because it's like dominoes into obsolescence. Of course, we want to get rid of parts. No sell, 13 months, no receipt. But there's different buckets to manage, and creating those guidelines, those processes to have structure gives you a more proactive way to make better decisions.
Ed, you have a team that's empowered to make decisions throughout the dealership. Talk to us a little about some of the structure, that you've set in place, being formerly the fixed operations director. I love how Tully says parts sells hours. And it really does come back to that. It's not siloed. It's one big organization.
Well, we can't make all the decisions, and a lot of times we try to be in control of different things and really feel like we got our finger on the pulse. But ultimately, we don't have all the information, and if we don't have all the information, we shouldn't make all the decisions. So it's about pushing the decisions down to where the information is. And when you empower people to do that and you set the guideline that says, hey, here's our opportunity, here's where we want to be, and we want to free that money up so we can bring in things that we can move out of here and better take care of our customers. Now, and then we tell them it's okay to make those decisions because they may have a fear that they paid $200 for that part and they got to take 50 cents on the dollar for it, and there's $100 loss on it. Well, I'd rather take that $100 loss, pick that and take the other $100 in, buy another part for $100, sell it for $160. Now, was it really $100 loss, or did I minimize that loss and also now have $160 I can reinvest again in something else? So we have to be able to push that down to where they're not afraid to make the decision to move that thing out so that we can bring in something fresh. And that's by pushing those decisions down to where the information is.
It sounds like it's also a mindset, and you're known for that at Bozard, that mindset. Speak to us about that a little bit, because and obviously it starts at the top with the leadership, the owners at the dealership, but how do you get that to trickle down so effectively at your store?
It's the constant communication that we talked about earlier. We don't have limitations. Limitations live right here. We're capable of doing so much more than what we deliver every single day. But in our mind, that's more than we've ever done. So that must be a good job. Well, is it really a good job? Let's look deeper into that and determine what does a good job look like. And that's another element of what a lot of us don't do. We don't do a good job of letting our people know what a good job looks like. So we end up celebrating a subpar job, or maybe we're not celebrating a great job, but we needed to dissect what a good job looks like and then celebrate those small victories or set the standard for what needs to having to get there.
Kaylee, your thoughts? That makes a lot of sense, by the way, the way that Ed approaches his leadership.
Yeah, I think you pointed, I meant to write it down, but the guiding the leadership really is what you're talking about, and showing them, how to do the job, and leading them to much more than what they are already doing.
Well, let them know that they're capable of more, because like we said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you're capable of until you find out what you're capable of. And sometimes we get to a point because we think that's where we need to be, and then we stop. Well, let's look at it from a scoring standpoint in a football game. If we're 3 points back and there's 2 minutes left to go, then if we're trying to tie the game up, we need to kick a field goal. Or if we get a touchdown, we win the game. But if we're 10 points back and there are 2 minutes to go and we have the ball, we're going to react differently. Well, we know what we need to make happen. We know what we need to get to. Well, we have to also set that guideline of what we need to get to and how hard we need to push to get there. Then that's when we really find out what we're capable of.
And everybody, here we are in the fourth quarter of 2023. We know what's ahead. And then we start a whole new game all over. And Kaylee, PartsEdge is here year round, okay, regardless of where we are, regardless of conditions out there, inventories, strikes, no strikes, all those things. So, Kaylee, what's the best way if our audience wants to reach out to you for more information on PartsEdge and the resources you provide to help them with that inventory at the dealership level?
Yeah, if you go to our website and you want to have reach out and talk to me, you can, our email, my email's below, but we also have resources on our website for ebooks, so that talk about inventory control, how to identify issues in your inventory. We talk about pricing, because that's another thing in Q4 that we get a lot of requests for is pricing analyses to see, what if the matrix is actually working, which we could talk about that in a whole nother topic. But that's the biggest things is obsolescence and pricing at the end of the year, and it shouldn't just be the end of the year. We should be focusing on it all year long. And don't forget that when you get rid of your obsolescence, that also have a plan to why are you doing this every year? Like, why are we doing this? The same thing. So have a plan to be different next year.
Ed, I'll give you the last word.
Like Kaylee just said, create a plan. If 10% of your inventory is obsolescence this year, ain't a whole lot you can do about it except clean it up. And then put processes in place. And then if it's 10% next year, then those processes was ineffective, and let's work on those. But if they improved and we're 3% or we're 4% obsolescence next year, and we've made progress, then we got to determine, is that the right number of where I want to be? And things don't happen unless you set the guideline for what they need to happen. And so you don't have to micromanage. You just got to set an expectation. When you set an expectation, they will hold themselves accountable. And when they hold themselves accountable, you're going to get a lot more results than if we're back there cracking the whip.
Great advice, everybody, at this time of year, any time of year. Ed Roberts, thank you so much for your time today and your wisdom. Kaylee, Felio, great work. And thank you for all you do for the industry at PartsEdge. And everybody, for more information, you can reach out to the great team at PartsEdge at partsedge.com. Kaylee's email is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And Ed and Kaylee, thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaylee, Felio, everybody, and Ed Roberts here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Obsessed with creating the perfect inventory? Us too. PartsEdge gives you the tools you need to outpace the competition and provide the highest level of service to your customers. PartsEdge is a powerful tool for parts managers to get the job done faster. Imagine what it was like when the impact wrench arrived. It made mechanics 3 times faster. Getting the job done without the latest technology makes it difficult to keep up. Besides all the other responsibilities you have, you work hard to have all the right parts you need when you need them. PartsEdge was designed by parts people for parts people to make that job a lot easier. PartsEdge saves you 4 to 6 hours every week and can increase your sales by 10 to 20% in just 12 months. Not bad for your bottom line. Take your obsession to perfection with PartsEdge. Call us today to find out what PartsEdge can do for you.
Our revolutionary pop-up events have sparked a new wave of growth and innovation.
Become part of the brand that is shaping retail fixed operations at FixedOpsRoundtableCertified.com.
Find out how Susan Michaels at CDK Global uses her powers to pave the way for women in automotive in an interview with Ted Ings and Sarah Vantine at Northwood University.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Ted, we're at Northwood University and we have a very special guest with us on this panel.
That's right. Sarah, we have Susan Michaels from CDK Global with us here at Northwood. Susan, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you so much for having me, Ted and Sarah. I appreciate being here today.
So give us some background. We've heard that CDK Global is very proud to partner with Northwood and the Northwood International Auto Show. Give us a little bit of background.
Absolutely. So yeah, CDK is extremely proud to be here and to be participating in the auto show this year. We really feel that there's some great synergy between CDK and Northwood in that Northwood has this incredible automotive program for its students and best in class, I would say. And they started out as a small Northwood institution, and here they are today at this tremendous, important automotive program in the industry. And with CDK, you know, we're the leaders in the industry, best in class solutions and technologies for our dealers. And we truly believe that the students here at Northwood are the future leaders for Northwood in the automotive industry. So yeah, we're very proud. And I will go and tell you that we've done a lot of really great things to partner with Northwood over the years. We've partnered on things like internships and mentorships and scholarships, and we do a lot of special programs and events at Northwood University where, as a matter of fact, tomorrow morning, we're going to be hosting our Women's Roundtable event, which is our second annual event here at Northwood. And we're going to get the opportunity to talk to these students and really dive in and connect with them, talking about making great connections and building strong relationships. So I would definitely say CDK is super proud to be here and really proud to be partnering with Northwood.
Susan, this is so exciting to witness all of this here and all the activity that's happening on campus. And you touched on this, how important the roundtable tomorrow is going to be for women that are considering getting into our industry and women in our industry. Oftentimes, and still today, women are very underrepresented in the automotive industry. Can you tell us a little bit about how you and CDK we're partnering with Northwood to make strides in this area?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're so right. Women are very underrepresented in this industry. And I think if you look at the U.S. labor statistics, about 47% of women are in the workforce today. And if you look at women in automotive specifically, the numbers are 20%. But then when you start to look at the leadership roles, the numbers take a little bit of a dip, and we're at 8 to 10%. And then looking at the C-suite, the numbers dip even further, somewhere between 4 and 6%. So still a lot of work to do. I mentioned we're doing the Roundtable event tomorrow, and it's going to be a really great opportunity. The students are going to we have leaders that we have brought in from across the country. They're coming in multiple generations, different backgrounds, different upbringings, different focuses within the automotive industry, and the students are going to get some really great one-on-one time with them to be able to talk about not only how the leaders managed and strategized to get to where they are today in the industry, but to really hone in and dive in on the different opportunities that are available for women in automotive today.
So, Sarah, the first time I heard of Susan Michaels, I noticed that she began posting on social media leading up to what's happening this week with the Roundtable, and highlighting the profiles of women in automotive. And first of all, congratulations on that, because it's gotten a lot of attention. And are these some of the things that prompted you to do it in that way and get it, and focus on this as well?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we get to do in our business unit here at CDK is we have a really unique opportunity where we get to go attend some special events and meet and greet with our dealers. We get out in the field and talk to the dealers, to our OEMs, and to our vendors and suppliers. And we want to know what's top of mind for women in automotive. And so one of the things that came to mind was really dealers and OEMs really struggling to find women to fill the bench, right? So whenever there's a vacant spot, who's going to now take over that store if a woman leaves? And then, who's going to fill that general manager spot or GSM spot? And so they just didn't know where to find women leaders. And so that was how Paving the Way was born. And I said, okay, let's try this. Let's do this initiative where we're going to spotlight and elevate these women that are doing great things in the industry. And that's how Paving the Way was born.
Wow, Paving the Way is getting a lot of attention. So congratulations to you and CDK Global on that. Can you give us an example or some details on specific initiatives underway at CDK to continue to promote education and advocacy of women in automotive?
Oh gosh, so CDK has been supporting women for a really long time in the automotive industry. We've been doing it for over 25 years. It's the only DMS provider that has a specific segment designed to do just that, support and advocate for women. And so, yeah, we've done a lot. If I think about some programs that we have currently out there, and if we look at the advocacy side, so of course Paving the Way is one of them. CDK does this Rev It Up with Women Retail series every single month where we're putting out some really great content and thought leadership. And in addition to that, as I mentioned, we have partners that we work with. So Automotive News, Leading News Network. We work with General Motors and their Women Retail Network, and NADA and the Driven event. And then when we look, a little deeper at the education side, this year, January, NADA, CDK actually donated $100,000 to support education here at Northwood's automotive program. So it's supporting educational opportunities for a lot of folks. We truly believe that education is important, and that it should be available to everyone. So that money is going to go towards some fresh high school seniors that are participating in Northwood's full tank summer camp, and then looking to attend Northwood Automotive's program in the fall, and also to some freshmen and to upperclassmen. So we're spreading out the wealth and hoping for a great future in automotive for women.
Susan, you are so inspiring, and it is incredible to see all of the programs and all of the influence that is happening for women in automotive. I think about the young women and even women just considering to get into the automotive industry, maybe at whatever stage of life that they're at, and they're looking at automotive and they're seeing all this opportunity. If you had a chance to speak to somebody one-on-one that was considering getting in our industry, what would you inspire them to take the step to get into automotive?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because women in automotive is not something that we think about, right, when we're in our younger years, in our high school years, and say, hey, I want a career in automotive, right? It's not something we typically think about, but I think we should be starting to think that way. There's so many opportunities, and it's a great time to be in automotive as a woman. I think that if you have a focus and you're interested in human resources, automotive is an industry you can work in. If you want to be in marketing, automotive is an industry you can be here in and be very successful. Sales as well, and variety of other areas of the automotive industry. So the opportunities are really boundless for women in automotive. And I think today times have changed, right? So back when I first started, there wasn't the opportunity to have a good work-life balance. So we're seeing a lot more remote opportunities where, if you're a young mom and you want to be able to stay home and raise a family or be there when your kids get off the bus, remote work is really great. And so that's something that's come around, I think, more now since COVID, but it's definitely given us a better opportunity to be out there in the industry and succeed.
Susan, fantastic. I like the word that Sarah used, inspiring, and you're very inspiring.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you for all you do for our industry. Everybody, Susan Michaels from CDK Global here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
You might have noticed that the Fixed Ops Roundtable is on the move, and that's because we are now hosting pop-up events. We are on our way to a dealership near you with spontaneous events in amazing dealership spaces to highlight the hardworking people in retail service, parts, and dealership-wide. Stay up to date with where we are headed next by following the Fixed Ops Roundtable on social media.
Take a moment now to pull out your phones to scan the QR code on your screen to vote for the Best Practice Awards that will be announced at the end of this event. And remember, every vote counts, so make sure you put your superpowers to use and vote for the speakers or the panelists who you think are the heroes of the show. And don't forget, you can only vote once.
Hey, it's Jim Sabino here, All-American Ford Mobile Service at your service. Check this baby out. This is one of our newest units to add to our fleet of mobile vans to service you, our customers. Come around back here. I'm going to show you inside exactly how this van works for you. All right, as you can see, this is a fully equipped mobile service van that does everything. It's like a mobile hospital. That's right. We can do it all in this truck. Come on inside. I'm going to get into the details on how this baby works for you. So we can do oil changes. We got oil filters on stock, air filters, wiper blades, cabin air filters, recalls. We have this laptop here. There's all the programming of all the modules, and any recall that we can do on the road, we will do it for you. That's right. Check this out. Look at this equipment that we have in this truck. Fully equipped, mobile technicians come to you. Certified technicians at your site, at your place of business. You call us, text us, email us. Our mobile service coordinator will take all your information, make the appointment, and our mobile van will show up on location at your convenience, perform the service that you need. All American Ford Mobile Service, check us out.
And just like that, we're back in a flash at the Fixed Ops Roundtable Automotive Avengers event.
Automotive Avengers, assemble. It's Mobile Monday with the myKaarma Mobile Service Panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It is time now for the myKaarma Mobile Service Panel. Introducing the panelists to you. They are Jim Sabino of All American Ford Automotive Group in New Jersey, Mark Mickens of ES3, Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine, Florida, and Matt Bateman from myKaarma. myKaarma is hosting the panel. Matt, very grateful to you and the folks there at myKaarma for all you do for our industry. So at our last event, everybody, no secret, this was by far the most popular segment on the entire event. And I think a lot of that comes back to the groundwork that you've been laying there at Bozard Ford Lincoln for several years. So, Ed, to kind of set the stage for us today, I want to ask you, what is mobile service and why is it so popular and becoming more and more popular right now?
Well, it's becoming popular because this year, thankfully, for the first time in I don't know, 30 something years, we've got to focus on fixed ops. And with putting that focus on fixed ops, what's the next element that we can really elevate fixed ops with? And that is meeting our customers on their terms. And that's what we can do with mobile. And I think that's a big reason why it's became so popular of how can we bring this to market? How can we make it profitable? How can we do these things? And hopefully we'll talk about some things there that some of the audience can put into practice and put their customer first as well.
Ed, customer convenience, you and I have discussed that with the panel before, seems to be at the top of the list, making it convenient for the customer. What are some of the benefits that you've seen now, having run this for several years there at Bozard?
Our customers are extremely loyal when we can go see them mobile. There's nobody that gets up, including anybody on this call, gets up and says, "Hey, I'm thrilled to go get my car serviced today." Nobody gets up to do that. It becomes something that we have to do. Well, when we take those things away to where you don't have to go do those things, we can come to you and do those things for you, and it doesn't disrupt your day, or you don't have to take time off or whatever it may be, then it creates a relationship that we never thought we had with that customer, to where they think, hey, these guys are really here to take care of me. And so it raises that level of loyalty through the roof and allows us to do a lot less conquesting or advertising to drive in new customers, because they become very loyal to our brand.
Ed, I know customer satisfaction is very important to your dealership. You are a Triple Crown winner. I don't want to misphrase it. Is it 6 or 7 times so far or more?
It is 7 times, and we're closing on in here on fourth quarter to make it 8 times.
Has the mobile aspect of your business helped the customer satisfaction, in your opinion?
That is an element of. We do a lot of things here for an experience for our customers, but that is one of the things that our customers has latched on the most. And there's just so much opportunity with it. We're going to expand it and take it to a whole new level, to where it's not just for that as a profit center where we try to make something happen with it, but it also allows our rest of our shop to be more profitable as well.
Mark, you're a longtime Ford dealer, also great experience in the Mercedes-Benz world. I've heard a lot of the amazing stories about the things you did to champion mobile. from the gentleman that's on the left there to you, Jim Sabino. Before I do, Mark, talk to us now, because you're going around the country and you're preaching the benefits of what's happening with mobile, and what are you seeing and hearing?
Seeing a great, more interest as we roll along. Mercedes-Benz is on an initiative more so about using more shop capacity. A lot of our stores are at capacity, and mobile service just becomes a great, piece to that, to grow your shop, grow your capacity. We've seen, an outstanding lift in our customer experience numbers. Every dealer that's doing mobile service is experiencing a significant lift in their 5-star rating based on mobile service appointments. And we have some really good data on that now, and just more generated interest in this becoming just not a passing thing that somebody's going to try. We have dealers out there now really trying to make it a full part of what they do every single day, to service their clients. It's just been going outstanding. Our original pilot dealers, we had 3 of them, and very, very happy to say, and I'm very excited to say that all 3 have ordered their second van because they've gained so much success in the things that we put in place for them. And I know I mentioned in our last broadcast that it was all about building a business plan and having a foundation with that business plan to be able to know when you might need that second van, or know when you can expand. And all 3 of our dealers did that, and they were able to go back to management and say, it's clearly time for us to add on to this business. So we're really proud of that, but it's growing out there. And when we do go around the country, we have a really good new way of having our dealers that are either skeptical or wondering or thinking about it to just, put mobile service for car and van in their Google search bar and see what comes up around their area. And it's quite startling for people to look at how many people are already doing it. And the first question I ask is, are there any Mercedes-Benz dealers in that count, either organically or paid search? And the answer is usually no. So, it's a really good way to get people start to think about it. Right.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on what Mark just brought to the table about what's the reasons why you guys jumped into it, and how are you doing with it?
So thanks, Ed. Listen, I was in the beginning, honestly, I was on the fence. I was almost there, but I wasn't all the way there. And I said in one of my other broadcasts I had with Ted previously, is that you individually were a big influence on the reason, because I saw the benefits and the success that you had down there in Florida. Now we're both on the Northeast here. We're being in New Jersey, you're being in Florida. I kind of was a little nervous with weather coming into, now we're in November now. So you get into the November, December, January, when it's snowing or it's 20 or 10 degrees out, it's a little difficult to perform mobile service out there. So that's a variable that we deal with. And, we take it on an as needed. If we have to ground the trucks for that day, we will ground the trucks. It's just something that we're not going to put, mobile technicians out there, obviously in inclement weather. And you probably deal with the same thing on the other end of the spectrum in the July and August months of those dog days of heat down in Florida. And I know that I've seen some of your postings that you have actually little portable tents that you set up to shield the guys from that brutal sun. So, which is a great idea. So listen, mobile service, I am 110% in. I am committed behind it. It's supported from the dealer principals down. It's a very great convenience to add to your guests on top of everything else that you do within your organization. From the technician that goes out there and meets the people face to face, from the appointment coordinator and all that, the communication from the dealership to and from, having the truck equipped with the right parts, having the truck nice and clean when it shows up. There's a lot of little variables in the proper uniform. Our mobile technicians wear a different uniform. We have polo shirts for them, and they're tucked in, and they, it looks the part. So convenience being the key word. We keep repeating that, but ultimately that is the foundation of this mobile service, is the convenience. We are offering a convenient service to our guests that has never been offered before. That being said, it's getting traction by the day. People are referring it. When they call, they reschedule a mobile service because they were so pleased with their experience from either the previous or their first one that we offered to them. So there's a lot of reasons why we are in it. And then customer loyalty is a huge boost. So yes, we are all in, and we are all a believer, and you are a big part of that. As Mark Mickens, as you know, I have a lot of history with Mark, and I saw what Mark did at the Mercedes store a quarter of a mile up the street from where I am on Paramus Route 17, and he just went and he just took the ball and he built his own trucks, tire trucks, he really went from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And I watched it, and I was amazed on what success he brought with with those programs. So
talking about some passion, Jim's bringing the passion there. What are you seeing there, Matt?
Yeah, so I had a question for you guys. You know, when myKaarma first got started in mobile service and pickup and delivery, Mark, you know, we were focused on Mercedes and Highline brands, but Ed, here we're looking at you and Jim and guys, and we're talking to Ford dealers and mainline dealers, and the OEMs that are reaching out to us. It's not the Bentleys of the world right now, right? It's the mainlines. How has the customer expectation changed as we've gotten more mass market versus just high end in the last few years?
If I could take that, I would think that once you go to someone's home and it's successful, you're going to be going back there again. You know, for a lot of reasons. You know, the customers like it. I mean, that's the biggest thing, and the technology. I go around the country, Matt. I was very proud to say that I was your beta tester.
Yeah.
Service tab. So, you know, so I'm a big fan, always have been. And what we've been able to do to expand on with the technology, again, you know, theoretically, my thoughts on this is that, you know, it's 90% preparation being in the mobile service business and having the technology and myKaarma helping you organize that 90% is really invaluable. Because if you organize for the next day, it's just like running any other part of your business, and it becomes a separate business, and it's about organization. And, you know, that part of it's been great for us. The technology is a big piece.
So I'll touch on that as well, Matt, because it's like the saying, we don't know what we don't know, and our customers don't know that we can come to them.
Yeah.
What they do know is that there's an aftermarket or independent repair facility that is closer to them or on the way to work or whatever, that is convenient for them. It's more convenient than going an extra 20 minutes out of the way to come see us and then go back to work and then come back and get their vehicle and whatever. But when we come to them, it raises that level of convenience even higher. And what Mark was talking about with better shop preparation, and we can prepare our shops in new ways that we've never been able to do before. And for us, one of the things that we've done early on was we started going to our customers and putting their SOP parts on. Well, what happens when that happens is the customers already came into the store, we repaired their vehicle, they told us about something else that we needed to order for them, and then they left and we go put that part on. Well, I want to get that to where it's more forward thinking than that. When a customer makes an appointment, I go out to them and diagnose it and find out if there's anything else. And then I can order all those components at one time. And then if it's something I got to bring it in for, I bring it in, and then it's a one repair at that point. I already had that piece of trim that they needed and the repair that I needed to do to it. And that way it makes my shop more efficient because I don't have to bring it in, diagnose it, wait 2 days for the parts to show up, and then make the repair. I'm doing the repair the same day it shows up to make that. And then that really drives our shop efficiency up to where the value per bay is higher. And when we drive that up, then you really got to calculate that into what that mobile unit's doing for you as well.
Okay, cool.
That's strong. Ed, talk to us a little further on that, because when I was down to visit you at Bozard, your shop is very busy. I mean, your shop was extremely busy. So this has played a big part in being able to free up a lot of those bays for the bigger jobs and be able to do some of the mobile stuff at the customer's convenience, in their own driveway.
Well, we look at a lot of things from different elements. I don't dance on a ton of KPIs, But one of the KPIs that I do look at is the value of a bay. And when I look at the value of a bay, that's really the income for that technician and the income for that parts person. And when we can continue to drive that up and take better care of our customers, then we all win. And right now, we feel that we have the opportunity to increase the value of the bay by about almost another 50%. And that allows everybody to win. Now, some of that I'm going to have to offset some expensive mobile with, but I'm okay with that. Let's say that it costs me 10% of the value of that bay. To make that bay 50% more valuable, I think we all win by doing that. And that's preparing our shop for what's coming in rather than reacting to what comes in. And anytime we can prepare, we win.
Awesome.
Jim, you recently expanded. You got into mobile, and I couldn't help but notice, I think you added your fifth and now your sixth vehicles in the fleet there for All American Ford. And Jim, that's getting a lot of attention. I know in your area and in the Northeast as well, that mobile will work, in that climate, in a very, very busy, populated area as well, Jim.
Correct. Yes. So we have 6 units across all our rooftops. And it's busy. It gets traction by the day. There is trip value, and that's a word that Mark and Ed like to use, and there is definitely trip value. So every time those vans are on the road, they're in sight. They're advertising. People are seeing them. Your name is all over it. Mobile service is identifying your dealership. It's like, wow, I want to get them as popular as seen in the Amazon truck, right? So they're on the road, and it's a big lift. And say, wow, I didn't know that. So how many people are just driving and see that, and you get traction that way. So it is great. It's a little tough. You always have to have a plan B, because Mark talks about you need a plan. So plan B is like when that mobile tech unfortunately calls out sick or when he goes on vacation. What is your plan B? You have to have a plan for that truck. Do you just sit there and call the customer that day and cancel, or do you have a backup to get in that truck, take them out of a bay, and then do you take 2 other trucks and split them up, and it's going to be a little time different, but you always have to have a plan. That's the secret to success, right? Is planning. You can't just fly blindfolded. That's for sure. Not doing this. The customer expectation is we set the bar because there's no historical data to compare it against. This is a new service that we're offering. So everything we do is we get the wow factor and the lift out of it through satisfaction, through loyalty, through Google reviews, through all the above. And it's really great. And it definitely shows there is definitely a difference that we see internally in the dealership, the way we measure a lot of different financially, CSI, there's a lot, there's definitely a lift when it's done correctly. And when it's done correctly, you have to follow a plan and have buy-in from everybody from top to bottom.
Ed, Jim mentions the plan. You've had the plan the longest. So you've seen all these scenarios of the technician calling in sick. You've got the support team there. Speak to us about the importance of that plan, because I agree with what Jim and what Mark and Matt are all saying. Having that plan is the key to making this effective.
Thank you, Ted. It is. It's a constant evolution. It's not a plan that we create and just stick to it, because it's very fluid. These vehicles are out, weather changes, different things happen, people call in. And so one is, yes, have a backup to who's going to be there, and with us, we do a 2-man team, and if somebody's out, they can still roll. But in addition to that, we're going to have inclement weather. And sometimes we can overcome that with a tent, sometimes we can't. But we focus on what we can do, and we focus on what we can do rather than what we can't. The can't stops us from making any kind of progress. And so we focus on what we can do. And sometimes that is that we need to take those same people and do pickup and deliveries and do the work here at our store. And we have 98 bays here, and I have 96 technicians. And with those elements, not only do I have people that don't make it at times because life happens or on their vacation or whatever, that don't make it on mobile, well, I get the same thing that happens in the shop as well. So I always have available places to do things. And so we focus on what can we do, where can we do it, when can we do it, how can we do it, focusing on the can rather than can't. Right. When you do that, you'll find ways to do it.
I have a question for you guys. Lately, a lot of dealers have been coming to us asking with our inspection forms and stuff, hey, can you build out a custom EV inspection form, an EV workflow for us? And gentlemen, at your Ford dealerships, there's more Ford Lightnings, Mach-E's every day. Are you doing mobile service with the EVs? Does it look different? What is that evolving to right now? Because I know this is like right in front of us.
It has to be top of mind, especially in the brand that I'm in with Mercedes-Benz. We have a heavy EV influx now, and it's becoming part of the daily, business that you're doing in the service department. And there has to be a plan on, what can we go out and reprogram or update, which is encompassing most of what a Mercedes-Benz shop is doing at this point. So connectivity, proper tools and things of that nature are, there is a workflow to that. It's got to be part of your everyday, what you're already out there planning. Again, having a plan every day, and being over, what we present to our clients now when we're trying to develop a mobile service plan for them is, we address the plan Bs, the overcoming objections. Why aren't you going into mobile service? What are the obstacles? So we historically have some data now that can try to take care of some of the, misconceptions, wives' tales, things that they heard from somebody else, that we can just, we have some proven methods and some best practices now that we can point to say, yeah, it's going to rain, and maybe you want to put a canopy on that van if you have to, So, but getting back to the EVs is definitely part about what we design, because they're out there, right? Yeah. they're out there in a big way right now.
And there's not a whole lot that we can't do infield on an EV. So that's an EV is raising the level of what mobility is to a customer. They're able to hit things with, there's the early adopters, there's whatever the reasons are, they buy an EV. But now when we can take away those elements of those pain points of the ICE vehicle that they used to have, then there's no reason for them not to come back to us. So it just intensifies that loyalty, and it makes it easier to do mobile infield, because there's not much at all that we can't do on an EV infield.
Gotcha.
Matt, it would seem to me that a lot of the technology tools that myKaarma utilizes at the dealership level and that you've perfected now really well, really play right into the mobile aspect, okay, of the convenience and going to the customer's home, doing the inspection, having the payments. I mean, being able to do the whole thing mobily and convenient, Matt, I think you're in a great spot there.
Yeah, as Mark knows, right, being able to do that whole thing off of the driver, the technician's mobile phone is a game changer. So, if you've got the Wi-Fi connection, great. But if you have a cellular connection, that's going to work. And it's all tied together. And, we talk about mobile service on this panel, but as you guys know, it's also about the communications and can I take your payment, and can I still show you from your driveway stuff that you need done on your vehicles. So yeah, it's all got to be comprehensive to, as Ed and Jim keep talking about, and Mark, the customer experience, right? And that customer satisfaction, that all has to work together, because if it falls apart, they go, oh no, this isn't working for me.
Ed, you run a 2-person team there at your dealership. We talked about that when we came down there and did the pop-up event. You do that very effectively in a lot of different spots in the dealership throughout the shop. Ed, speak to us about how that works on mobile, because you've really fine-tuned it there.
Well, we all have strengths, and when we pair those strengths together, we broaden what we're capable of. When I say pair those strengths together, pair opposing strengths together to where they complement each other, and then we really broaden what we can do. And so if I have a guy that really fits what we do in mobile, but it's not necessarily the best communicator, then I need to pair him with someone that is capable of doing that and is capable of communicating. And when I do that, we have some customers that wants to see the van and want to see this, and they want to see, well, while they're looking at all those things, that's time. And we all know in service that what we had to sell is time. Well, with that other technician, I'm already doing the repair on their vehicle while the other one's showing them those things. And by the time they get down doing a little tour of the van or talking about different things, the vehicle's repaired and we can move on to the next job. Or if that vehicle is to a point to where we need to take it into the shop and do something with it, whatever the situation may be on that, and the customer doesn't need a loaner, well, I can send one technician back to the shop with that vehicle, make the repairs that needs to be made to it, while the other person goes out and continues on. So it just creates a ton of flexibility, but it is really pairing the right people together, and it's pairing people together with opposing strengths to really broaden what they're capable of.
And on one of the past meetings, you had mentioned safety was an aspect of the team partnership too, which I literally hadn't thought about that till you mentioned that. How's that part working?
Yeah, if it leaves the ground, there needs to be someone there that can see things, because if it leaves the ground, if we raise the vehicle up for whatever reason and someone's underneath it, whether they're pulling a drain plug or whatever the reason may be, things happen. We're there because vehicles are mechanical and mechanical things break. Well, it's mechanical things that lift that vehicle too. And if something happens there, we want to make sure that we have a backup plan or a source that can get help or whatever needs to take place. Because if it slips a bit and it just traps the person there, not necessarily causes any damage to them or whatever, but it traps them there, someone's got to be there to rescue them. And so it raises a level of confidence with them. The chances that happen is minimal, but the level of confidence that it raises is huge.
If I can too, Ed, I wanted to, expand on the technology piece and what it's done, for our, we're just trying to mimic what the clients are already used to getting, right? So being able to get on your phone, make that appointment, have, the trip being announced to you as the technician's on his way when he gets there or she gets there. And being updated throughout the process, and then here's your payment link is something that they associate with any kind of service that comes to their home or office. So we're just mimicking what we should be to give the customer the same experience. So
we're building on something that they're already used to.
Right.
Because let's look at it from an Uber standpoint. When you submit for an Uber, you know the vehicle that's coming. You have a picture of the driver. You know their name. You know the tag number. So when they get there, you know what to expect. Well, reality is we're still getting into a stranger's car that we've never met before and asking him to take us somewhere, him or her to take us somewhere that they don't have a clue where they're going to take us to or who we are either. But that connection point between the two kind of makes it satisfying to us all. Well, it's the same way when we're going to a customer's house, they need to know who's coming to them, when they're coming, all those elements that kind of adds that level of that security blanket. Okay, here's who I'm expecting. Here's when I'm expecting. They should be here now. Let me go out and greet them. And even though those elements are still there, they may not know that person. They may have never met them before. They're going to give them the keys to their second most valuable possession that they have at their home. All those elements are now at a point to where we feel better about it because it's things that we're used to.
Gentlemen, let me ask you a lightning round to kind of wrap up for today. If you would, I'll start with Mark. I'll come over to Jim, over to Matt, and then Ed, I'll have you bring it home. Here we are, middle of November, coming up towards the last 6 or so weeks in the year, and then on to 2024. For your peers who are watching today, thinking about getting into mobile service, I know Ed says you got to jump in the pool, can't just dip your toe in there. What advice and what should we be aware of going into the last part of the year and the early part of 2024? Mark, over to you first. Everybody, if you would, about 30 seconds.
Put it in your Google search bar and find out how many people around you are already doing it. It'll open your eyes, and those are the people that you can't see. Everybody drives to their store every day, and you can see Pep Boys or whoever your competitors are on the outside. You can physically see the brick and mortar places that are trying to take your business. You can't see that. It's on the road, but it's out there, and it's the next generation of Jiffy Lubes if you let it happen in your area. So just, that's the best advice. If you're wondering, put that in your Google search bar and find out who's already doing it in your area. And they're well funded, and they're well backed up, and they're national chains, and that's what you need to know.
Very strong, Mark. Love it. Jim Sabino.
So if you're serious about, elevating your guest experience, about creating a higher loyalty to your brand, to your dealership, mobile service is something that you definitely should explore as an option. You said something about Ed, you got to jump in. You can't just dip your toes in the pool. You got to jump in, whether it's even if the water is 50 degrees, you got to jump in the pool. You got to be all in it to win this. You need to have a plan, as Mark and Ed continually have said. A plan needs to be made and followed. There has to be contingencies, plan B, plan C. Invest in the infrastructure behind the scene, in your people, in the appointment coordinators, in your mobile technicians. As Ed touched on, it's so important that touching on the strength of mobile technicians. One may be a great technician and very savvy with recalls and electronics of the EVs and the technology. but he has a struggling problem with maybe communicating with people. So you have that one person that really connects, has a bubbly, outgoing personality that is very likable. That's the person you want to make customer facing, for sure. And that just puts a big, a bright light on your dealership because of the convenience coming to them at their location, whether it be their home, their office. And you know, it's a loyalty boost, a CSI boost, and everything in between there. So we are a firm believer of it here at All American. It has been going well. We work this system every single day, you know, data mining our guests to see who is eligible for a mobile service experience. And we're doing it. We're doing it, and we continue to do it now and into the future, and you know, expanding as needed. That's where we are.
Great advice. Matt Bateman.
Yeah, you'd probably expect me to say you've got to have the right software, the right solution that integrates easily. That's a foregone conclusion. I know everyone knows that, but I'm going to put my marketing hat on for a minute, and you got to promote the heck out of it. And I'm talking, you guys mentioned not just your vans, every other vehicle that's out there where you've got details on there. It should be on the front page of your website, right? Don't bury it 7 links down under the schedule service in small font under some ad. No, we offer mobile service. And your sales department, this is a closing tool. This is a differentiator with your dealership. When you buy a vehicle from All American Ford, right? When you buy it from Bozard, you get mobile service as an option, and promote it out there and get that word out there. Have your customers reference it in their reviews, right? Go look at how many customers on dealers are positive about video inspections these days, right? You know, oh my gosh, they did video. We love the video. The video made it so clear. We see a lot of that. Have your customers recommend that they had mobile service done there and what a game changer it was. And now you're building momentum with it. So software, yes, you know I'm going to say that, but promote the heck out of it. Leverage this opportunity.
Ed, I think we're going to put Mark in charge of marketing. Bring it home.
So what Matt said is spot on as well. Put it on the website, and I will tell you, if you do it, you will need multiple trucks. That's what I'm talking about. I have 10 trucks that I'm running right now. I'm on my way to 46, and I can't put it on my website yet because we keep them busy. But let me tell you about why you don't dip your toe in, and I'll keep it very short there, Ted. If we dip our toe in, we're looking for things to go wrong to prove why we shouldn't do it. That's like jumping in and saying, okay, well, I can't swim. I'll try another day. But when you're jumping in the middle of the ocean, you have no choice but to swim, and you will overcome the obstacles. You won't look for the things that stop you. So you got to do it, or it will be done to you. Mark said, go look at the website, see what's out there. Don't let the competitor show up first. Be the first out there.
Great advice, gentlemen. On behalf of the Fixed Ops community, thank you for all you do. I want to wish you and your families a very happy Thanksgiving next week.
Ted.
Thank you for all you do. Mark Mickens, everybody, Jim Sabino, Matt Bateman from myKaarma, and Ed Roberts here today on the myKaarma mobile service panel. Thank you, gentlemen, for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can Ardway service customers easily connect with their service advisor using a single number?
Why would we need that? Ardway reception. Wrong department, let me forward. Parts department, you need service, let me forward you. Ardway sales, where the answer is always yes. Oh, no. No. You have the wrong department. Let me transfer. Hardway service? Hello? 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 Must not have been important.
With communications, scheduling, video MPI, payments, and more, myKaarma delivers everything fixed ops in one place. Do you use video walkarounds to protect your dealership from fraudulent damage claims?
At Ardway, we have a very refined process for handling walkarounds.
This one's checked in.
With communications, scheduling, video MPI, payments, and more, myKaarma delivers everything fixed ops in one place.
On our next panel, Owen Moon teams up with the experts on the service marketing and technology panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. This is the Fixed Ops Digital panel. Big news from Fixed Ops Digital in the past few weeks. They have been recently acquired by TradePending. Owen Moon is the co-founder. Owen, congratulations to you and your team there for all the hard work and all you've done.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. I appreciate it. A lot happening over the last month here, and we're super excited for as we kind of move towards the end of the year and going into 2024. So glad to be here.
Excited for you and this service marketing technology panel. I'll let you handle the introductions, and I'm going to step out of the way, and I'll see you towards the end.
Awesome. Thanks, Ted. Yeah, so they say, there's an old line that not all superheroes wear capes, and I think this is a great panel of some great superheroes in our industry. So I'm going to kind of just introduce everybody, kind of going across the screen here. I've got Jeremy Stevens, the Director of Fixed Operations for the Heister Automotive Group. I got Matt Raymond, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Bowtie Auto Solutions. Samantha Foster, the Communications and Marketing Director for UBI. Joe Dallas from TradePending, the Chief Business Officer. And Chris Schaubert, the Director of Fixed Operations for the Marhofer Automotive family. So thanks, guys, for joining me today. I'm super excited to kind of get into some key topics. A lot of times when I do these panels on Ted's Fixed Ops Roundtable show, we really dive deep into the service marketing aspect or the service, online side of things as we've obviously evolved that and really kind of brought that to the forefront here over the last few years. Today, I want to kind of expand out, though, and I want to talk a little bit about, some of the areas that might be affected by marketing and sort of how, and not only your guys's, your daily lives with your products and your company kind of tie into that. But obviously, Jeremy and Chris, you guys being, in the trenches every day, I'd love to, kind of hear from your standpoint as well. So really what I want to start with, and Matt, I'm going to start with you on this, is personnel. We talk a lot about marketing and, obviously on the sales side and then moving to the service side, you want to try to drive more opportunities into the store. And I think everyone's looking for more revenue and more opportunity. But I hear it all the time that, we're 2 weeks out on an oil change, or we just don't have the personnel, that type of thing. From your side of the point, obviously you run a offsite service BDC company for dealers. What are you noticing is the biggest, I'd say, pitfalls right now, kind of in this post COVID world that we're trying to get people to work?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we solve the people side of things via an outsourced service BDC. Just give you an example. Last month, we had a store that hired us to be their overflow service BDC for 2 of their rooftops. Conversation went along the lines of, you're probably going to get 7 to 10 phone calls a day, if that. We answered 1,300 phone calls and set 295 appointments.
So there's a need there. Is that what you're saying?
Just a little bit. And there's, and Forbes released an article recently that talked about 80% of people that don't have somebody that answers the phone for a service appointment defect. So take 295 and defect those at, I think the number was 236 earlier that I was looking at. Take that times your average RO, what are you losing? And so the reality of it all is a lot of great technology out there. And I'm not going to dive into your AI. You're going to talk about that and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, dealerships need to focus on solving the people problem, however that may be, whether they do it in-house, whether they have somebody outsourced, whether they have a combination of both. It needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I can see that being a kind of a challenge everywhere, is just getting enough people in the chairs to capture all those opportunities. Jeremy, Chris, if you want to jump in here, I'd love to hear from you guys just from a dealership standpoint. What are you guys seeing? Are you guys having some challenges on a personnel level?
Oh yeah, there's always a challenge there, and there's to find that right person. That's really the key. So that is the key, because what we don't want to do is spend all this money in marketing, and then all of a sudden we can't, to the we can't do anything with it because we have too much for it. So there's a fine balance to hire the right people for the right seats. So it's a whole lot of little pieces that fits the big old puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would echo the same things Jeremy said. It is the right people at the right time. We're actually just getting started with some large projects ourselves, as far as the strategy that we're playing to make sure that we're effectively training every person that comes in as well, because we're finding we have all large dealerships, and we have to have a lot of personnel to run those effectively. And once again, it's got to be the right person. And unfortunately, when we have such a busy operation, when I've got individuals that go out to the store, sometimes they get put into the trenches a little too soon. And then that can both frustrate the individual, the employee that's come on, and then it can also frustrate your customers and take down CSI, and then frustrate your managers because they're just like, I need qualified people. Just help me get them. So we have put in some great strategy together and some programs to be able to help in every avenue. And we're actually getting ready to kick off an express training program, which has really been an area where we have to pick up the greatest amount of CSI, the greatest amount of customer care. Our biggest thing is providing a world-class experience to every customer. And so we've got to start with Express, the simple services that are going to increase everything across the board. So that's a huge initiative for us right now.
Yeah, good points, guys. And I would say this, I hear it all the time where people are like, hey, I don't want an outsourced person representing my company. So, obviously there's that fine line. Where do you guys think, and anybody can jump in here as well, where do you think we should have an outsourced BDC maybe potentially help us, and where do we want to make sure that it's actual employees? Is there a fine line between what should be considered internal and what could be maybe outsourced to help help kind of offset some of those challenges?
I mean, one of the challenge I see is, you don't know who these people are because you've never seen them. You don't know how they interact on the phone. So from my point, that it scares me to outsource sometimes. And I know they probably hire great people, but you kind of feel like it's not in your control anymore. You're trusting. I work for Heaster Automotive, and every time we hire somebody, they mispronounce the last name. So it's like it's just little stuff like that, and it just opens a whole can of other worms that kind of gets you on the edge a little bit.
Yeah, and for us, speaking from an outsourced side of things, I think the big thing is communication, right? So we talk to the dealerships that we have on board every day. They'll tell us, hey, just so you know, we had somebody call out today or whatever it might be. It's communication. It's no different than you would have communication within your own store. And I'm not going into a full-blown pitch of bow ties, but at the end of the day, it's communication. If you don't have communication in your store or outside of your store, nothing's going to work together.
Yeah, Joe, Samantha, I'd love to hear from you guys. I mean, you guys obviously both are with companies that have grown tremendously. Samantha, you kind of joining a startup that was sort of just getting going. When I remember when you started working for UBI, and then Joe, obviously you've had huge growth with TradePending, and then obviously with a couple acquisitions with SnapCell and with obviously with Fixed Op Digital. What have you noticed from a personnel standpoint? I mean, how can you service the dealerships Are you finding that it's challenging to find good people and kind of keep some of those people, Joe, that obviously kind of bringing some different cultures together? I'd love to hear just a little bit from you guys.
It's really hard to find good people, especially, and also good people have become, harder to compensate. Like that's something that's definitely happening in the market. But if you pay for good people, then you get paid back, tenfold. So, as a business owner operator, and Owen, you know this too. Like sometimes you just got to step up and get the right people in the right seats. We've definitely seen that in both, support, client success, deployment, all the key things that make our customers happy. Yeah, it's gotten harder, but those people are out there and they want to work. So you just got to pay for them sometimes.
Yeah, makes sense. Samantha?
Yeah, and I agree with everything everyone is saying on here. I think that personnel is hard at times, and other times it's easier, right? It's tapping into different people's networks that work with you. It's, the training, the culture, it's finding all these different pieces, but really coming into it as a whole. So what are all the things that we're offering, when to outsource, when not to outsource? I was a BDC manager for 10 years. And I never outsourced my BDC, but I wouldn't have been opposed to if I couldn't find the right people at the right time. So I think that it just, it comes down to, where you're at. And at UVI, we're scaling really quickly. And we actually did outsource our BDC, and now we are taking it in-house. We did look for somebody for a little while, and we weren't finding the right people. So I think it's just more about timing sometimes too, and knowing when to take it in-house and when to outsource that.
Yeah, good points. And obviously, just a fine balance there between what should be done internally and then what can you outsource and stuff. So, cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about technology and AI. And Matt had a great line. I think I read it on LinkedIn where he said he has AI, but it's actual individuals. But we'll move past that and let's talk a little bit about technology and artificial intelligence, and how maybe that's affecting the business, how that's affecting marketing. And Samantha, I'm going to kind of come back to you, since obviously with your guys' tech, it's very, very much an automation type technology and stuff. And I'd love to just kind of hear, what you're seeing from a technology and AI standpoint. But first from, just maybe efficiencies, but then also how's that tying it in with dealerships and their ability to maybe market and that type of thing.
Yeah, so I feel like AI can be sometimes a controversial subject, but at UVI, we really feel like we really lean in, obviously, on the AI piece, because our technology is driven by machine learning and artificial intelligence. And we feel like utilizing AI is helping build better processes inside of the dealership. It's actually helping with training. So for us, tying it all together with, some of the things we've already been talking about, is that we're actually able to work within the process that a dealership already has, but then we're complementing it, right? So for UVI, when you drive through our system and the service advisor is actually able to meet the customer with everything, with a full vehicle inspection report of their vehicle, they're able to identify things that they wouldn't have normally been able to identify without actually sending that to a service technician and wrecking that vehicle. So being able to make real-time decisions or have real-time communications on things like an oil leak under the vehicle. All of these things are spotted by these, pieces like AI. So just leveraging technology to have better conversations, to be able to show imagery to support, the different things that you're showing the customer. And I think at the end of the day, anything that you can actually incorporate into your customer experience strategy is always something that will be beneficial. And if you tap into AI in the right places, I feel like it's something that, really drives that customer experience forward.
I say good points. You're definitely not saying that AI and is going to replace people per se, but more maybe an enhancement or for efficiency standpoint. I like the idea of also having some validation. I think validation is good, and obviously having somebody do a quick walk around on the vehicle as opposed to having some technology help with that. I think, that kind of helps for trust and customer loyalty and things like that. Jeremy, Chris, I'm going to kind of bounce to you guys, in the store level. Are you utilizing any sort of tech, any sort of AI or automation to help kind of drive those efficiencies? Obviously, it helps with some of the personnel side, which we kind of started with, but anything else that's kind of standing out from what Samantha had mentioned?
I would say that we're looking into several avenues that involve AI. I think it's definitely a needed or something that's going to be useful. I think that there are many groups that are using it effectively right now, but I feel like there are too few in some of our large settings. To some extent, I would honestly like to have a smaller store where I could roll a few of these things out to be able to see the experience first. We just don't have that right now. And so in some of our investigation, we have looked at UBI pretty extensively and are continuing to. We've talked about the AI answering services such as Stella and Brook .ai. So we are looking into them, I'd say, as a whole. We're still kind of middle of the road. We are honestly getting too many variations on the 50-50 nature of some feeling like they're having a really great experience. There are those out there that are loving every aspect of AI, and then some that are experiencing a lot of challenges. And like I said, for us, customer satisfaction, I think, is a key for everyone. And so we want to make sure that we make the right moves at the right time. So I love panels like this and discussion to be able to learn and engage, because it's a very real thing, and it's going to be active in probably every service drive and every service department in some way, shape, or form in the oncoming years. But we're still right in the middle of that pack.
Jeremy, how about you?
A little bit about the same, because right now it's like AI overload is because there's so much. Everybody's doing it, and everybody's calling you to do this and that, and just right now I'm at peace of trying to separate it all to figure out what in the world, how are you going to plug this into the automotive world? Because I use it a lot of times when I do a lot of writing stuff, and that's perfect. But it seems like every week somebody else is calling you to do AI on this, and right now it's just trying to separate it and make sense of what direction we need to go in with it.
No, that makes sense, and I agree with both of you guys. I think what happens is that it's always like all or none, right? It's like we've got to have all of our appointments being set by artificial intelligence, and that's not the case. I mean, you've got to be able to take all of these different applications and opportunities that are out there. People are a lot of smart people making a lot of smart products, but how does it fit into your efficiencies, how in your processes? And then is it a supplement thing, or is it hey, we're use that to take over the entire portion of this? And I think that's like any good product out there, is that you've got to see how it fits into your world as well. Matt, from a BDC standpoint, are you finding some efficiencies using any sort of like AI or technology to kind of help drive some of your initiatives?
We have a product that we're launching Q1 that's going to focus a little bit on it. Again, we stand behind the people side of things, not saying there's not a place for AI. Like, here's an example that I was thinking of while you were talking. Worked at a car wash in high school. You pulled in, that roller picks up on your tire and drags your car through the car wash. I didn't have to do anything after it got on the roller, right? Yeah. So AI is like the roller, right? It gets it in there and it just brings it through the process. But I had to make sure that that person that was driving that car and didn't come in acting a fool and jumping rollers or anything else. And so I was the human element. And so I think there's a place in automotive or any industry where the human element has to be there to guide things on. Because in the BDC world, if Jeremy has an AI product in there and 3 of his technicians call up, how does he tell, the AI service that's answering phones, that's scheduling appointments, I'm down 3 technicians today? On our side, they just pick up the phone and go, hey, I'm down 3 technicians. Can you call these appointments and reschedule them? Boom, done. We're on it. So it's working together. Now there's a place for AI where, it handles some of that, I don't want to call it mundane work, right? And gets through all that. So I think as automotive continues to grow, the dealers that just go, oh, good, AI's got it, and they throw it out there and they walk away to go handle something else, are going to see AI fail and they're going to hate it. The dealers that say, wait a second, we've got people and we've got technology. How do we leverage this together together to make it a great customer experience and increase our productivity, that's where it's going to win.
Yeah, great points. And Joe, as I was sitting and listening to Matt, I was thinking about SnapCell, right? And the video product, the MPI video product. That's a totally human element. So it's technology, but it's not being driven by AI. I think there's a place for it. I think that SnapCell obviously is a great piece of technology, but definitely doesn't necessarily have that AI portion of it as well. So thoughts on video.
Yeah, I think in general, like to everybody's point, like you can take tech and AI to a certain point, and I've heard several companies describe it as like the final mile or the final step just needs to be polished by an individual, right? Like just the tactile experience of talking to another human or getting a video that's like, hey, these are your brake pads. Here's how we measured them. This is where they are. This is why you need new ones, right? It just instills a lot of confidence in the consumer to have that one-to-one interaction.
Yeah, great points. Cool. Well, we're finishing up here. Let me just finish with one last point that I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about. And Joe, I'm going to kind of lob this one to you to start with. But vehicle acquisition. Obviously, over the last few years, we've had some inventory challenges. People are keeping their vehicles longer. And so, you hear it all the time that there's just not as many vehicles on the online auctions or in the auction space. People don't necessarily want to trade. They just want to come in and buy. I'd like to talk a little bit about vehicle acquisition because I think it's becoming, not that it has already been there, but I think it's going to be continue to be a huge focus in 2024. From a service standpoint, what do you feel is the opportunity for dealers with maybe vehicle acquisition or trade values? Kind of that whole scenario, kind of moving into the service lane in this example.
Yeah, we've had dealers that have used our API and our product for years to capitalize on the opportunity that comes in through the service lane. Like, unless you are under warranty and maybe in a lease, every single time you visit a service lane, you're thinking like it's a buy-sell opportunity, right? Trade, sell, like, how hard is it to have somebody come out and say, hey, do you know what your car's worth right now? We've had dealers utilize, QR hangers. So as a consumers rolling out of the service drive, just like scan this to see what your car's worth. And it's like, whoa, okay, that was way more than I have positive equity in this thing. Now maybe I can bump up with a similar payment, right? I could get a newer car and not really take a hit financially. So the service lane is just a huge sourcing opportunity for dealers that's probably underutilized. So, as a company, part of what we've been trying to do is finally getting fixed and variable talking. If we could get a fixed ops director that meets with a used car manager every day in every dealership, it's like, hey, here's our focus, here's our goal. Maybe a GM that incentivizes that conversation for both folks, then that's magic, right? Like, but it hasn't historically happened that cohesively. So I think I talk to my buddies that are non-auto. I'm like, imagine you had a customer that you almost could guarantee will be back in your business every 6 months or so, and you have an opportunity to make an impression. Like, what would that be like for you? It's like I never lose a customer in my life, right? So we have these touch points, and that happens in the service department. So I think the big thing is to make a good impression and also look at it as an opportunity to capitalize on it.
Great points. Jeremy, Chris. Oh, go ahead, Samantha. Yeah.
Right. What's really key about technology is really those different departments together. Because back in time, they're kind of segmented, right? Sales is focusing on sales, service and that service. But with the API technology, we already plan actually giving the used car manager a login. So this way, every vehicle that drives things, they're actually, when you go, we also are able to demonstrate up So that actually lets both the used car manager and that fixed ops director know that there may be opportunities. I think combining those two departments is really key so that they can interact with each other. I feel like it just is a better consumer experience overall.
Oh, and so yeah, go ahead, sir. Sorry. So I was Samantha said a great key word there. She said the word experience, right? So I think that we're definitely in a day where the coupon itself is kind of going away, right? And customers are looking at that experience and not necessarily fully going away. I know there's still the coupon clippers that are out there want to bring in for possibly a less expensive oil change or something of that nature. But the experience is what matters the most. And so I believe that this is also the greatest retention tool that we have. And fixed operations directors should be actively engaged in making sure that trades are coming through the drives, because I really do. I think that's our greatest retention tool. But I guess my question that I've got as well is, what are we seeing as the best way to put that into the drive? Are most sales departments sticking an individual salesperson in the drive? Are they? So we've talked about incentivizing. How is that incentivizing? And who's potentially putting the hangers on each mirror, right? I know it's a joint effort, but Joe or Jeremy, you guys have any insight on that from your perspective?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's crazy how we talked about AI, and I was just thinking back. I'll age myself because people say I'm a classic now, but when I was in the 90s working on cars in the same building, the top salesman was in the drive at 7:30, shaking hands and building relationships, and he was the top salesman every year. And this was before internet. This is when they had a newspaper and stuff like that. And it's always that human element, that connection that always keeps that retention. And, he did it. He helped the service drive, and he was there consistently every day, and it still works today.
And Chris, I'll say this, I've seen two different ways, right? If you have a lot of ROs, if you're a huge store that does a lot of ROs every day, it's probably worth investing in somebody that just sits back there and does nothing but look for those opportunities, right? If it's a smaller store and you can't staff that area, that at least letting those salespeople know when their customers are coming in for service and giving them those tools to be able to say, okay, this person's in an equity position. Let me go and at least make sure I'm back there. To Jeremy's point, be the guy back there shaking hands and talking to them. Also, I think there needs to be some, and I know there's tools out there that do this, so it's not like this is revolutionary, but it's hey, we have a $3,000 RO bill. You bring the salesperson in at that point, or the manager, and to say, hey, we can take that RO and make it go away and use it to help trade. So a lot of different ways you can do it. I think it comes back to, again, processes. Matt, real quick, do you guys do any campaigns for dealers, from a acquisition standpoint or from a equity standpoint to try to get them in that might be, service, sort of starting at service, but then kind of moving into more of the sales, or is that strictly a sales initiative?
No, we can run any kind of campaigns. I mean, everything is just, we've got the data, we can go to work on anything. One of the things that you had touched on, though, and I think this is a huge opportunity for the fixed ops side, just based upon the clients we have, right, is pick up and deliver. And when you're delivering that car back to them, are you including, hey, I'm dropping your car off. My manager saw your car and you made a stupid offer on it. Here's a form, and like Chris was talking about, that relationship, that working together, everybody working together. And so I think dealers have to get creative now and think outside the box and how to blend these departments together and how to make them work together. And that's where the win is, especially on vehicle acquisition, right? Hey, what about if I comp your oil change? You let me appraise your car. Fixed ops is like, well, we don't want to give away oil changes, but whatever it's got to be, right? Just getting creative to make those departments cohesive.
Well, and I saw something recently. I actually took a screenshot and sent it to my team about 2 months ago. It's as simple as just having a whiteboard and saying, hey, these are the vehicles that my company is looking for. And it just so happens that it's 5 of those vehicles or 5 vehicles that are coming in for service that day, right? I mean, there's no tech, there's no AI. It's simply just somebody with better handwriting than me going up on a whiteboard and writing it all out. So I think you can get really creative. I think I think, you know, acquisition is going to continue to be a big thing moving into 2024. So, well, it looks like we're about out of time. So I'm going to kind of turn it back to Ted here. But before I leave, just, you know, thanks everybody for obviously being a part of this. I thought there's some great nuggets for dealerships out there that are looking for help on both the personnel side with technology and then obviously, you know, kind of finished up with the vehicle acquisition side of things. So Ted, back to you, sir.
Oh, and you got great retail experience on this panel, deep experience. So thank you to everybody for all that you do for our industry. Owen, Fixed Ops Digital, you are the provider for fixed ops for the Roundtable here for so many dealers. For dealers who want to reach out for more information on what Fixed Ops Digital can do for them, what's the best way?
Yeah, same as always. My direct line is 605-376-0195. You can find us at fixedopsdigital.com. And if you want to kind of bounce over to the other side, go to TradePending.com. You'll see some Fixed Ops Digital marketing stuff there as well. But Joe and I are working hard to kind of bring those companies together as we move into the new year, and got some great ideas for integration and just, you know, kind of bring some of the two sides of the business together, as Joe mentioned. So we're super excited for it.
Great discussion today, everybody. I want to wish all of you and your families a very happy Thanksgiving next week. Jeremy Stevens, Joe Dallas, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Chris Schaubert, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Matt Raymond, great to meet you. And Samantha Foster, thank you as always. So Owen Moon and the panel from Fixed Ops Digital, powered by TradePending, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. Happy Thanksgiving.
We are Fixed Ops Digital, automotive's premier service marketing and technology company, and creators of the industry's first and only website service experience platform, Spark. We offer fully compliant fixed operations pages and coupon designs unique to every OEM. Our Why Service Here website page and video highlight what makes your dealership unique: certified technicians, OEM parts, online service scheduling, and complimentary amenities. Complete the online service funnel and bring customers to your scheduler with service conversion pages. Each offer on your menu page links to a page specifically designed to educate the consumer while increasing appointment conversion rates. Repair financing integrations for Sunbit and Dignify, so your customers can see as low as payment options directly on the offers. When customers save an offer to their mobile device, a prompt to enter their contact information appears, turning them into a service department lead. Bring in customers who need recall service and collect vehicle data. We've created a recall lookup through license plate numbers. No VIN necessary. With Spark, your service offers can automatically post to your Google Business profile. Our social ads are dynamic, so your ad prices automatically update with your offer menu pages. Dynamic ads mean more consistency across channels for clearer messaging. Just press play. Introducing interactive video by Fixed Ops Digital. Take your service website visitors on a journey to learn more about your core offerings, recommended maintenance intervals, the importance of certified service centers, and why your dealership is the right choice. Spark has over a year's worth of industry-leading GA4 data. Fixed Ops Digital is a founding member of the Automotive Standards Council for GA4 events, and we're dedicated to helping give dealerships a deeper understanding of their website's customer engagement. Data-driven offers management means more service conversions, the lifeblood of what we do. Ready to increase your dealership's service conversions? Connect your fixed operations departments to Spark, the industry's first and only website service experience platform.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Stargard dealer-branded app customer retention tool. This retention program provides connectivity between the dealership and the customers. Let's get started by showcasing the app's features. The first of which is support services. Having a contact card easily accessible to the customer provides them with a variety of options to contact the dealership directly. Also on the main page of the app is a direct link to the customer's OEM warranty information along with all products that were sold through F&I. Reviewing maintenance schedules and scheduling an appointment is also made easy by providing the customer with a direct link through the main dashboard should they need it. Another feature available to the customer is a resource called Glovey, a secure digital wallet that they can utilize to store information and images of important documents such as their driver's license, registration, or insurance card to always have readily available. And to showcase the dealership's positive impact on its community while generating additional marketing opportunities, having an integrated link dedicated to the dealership's socials such as Facebook and Instagram further encourages customer connectivity before and after the sale. And to ensure that customers are always kept apprised of ongoing sales and specials, providing them with direct links to the dealership's website through the app as well as notifications generates additional marketing transparency for the customer to take advantage of. Also, since customers often have multiple sources in which they have acquired coverages and warranties, the service advisor can quickly scan their VIN, and within moments, all applicable information will automatically populate by using the VIN scan tool, a reliable resource to negate negative CSI and eliminate confusion. Lastly, the dealer-branded app allows the customer to utilize Stargard's GPS through the same portal. This includes features such as real-time vehicle location and travel history, geofencing, stolen vehicle recovery, and even vehicle health alerts such as battery health, speed, and mileage alerts, helpful in notifying the customer of when it's time to schedule their next service appointment. All of this and much more will be available for both customer and dealership representatives to further provide unparalleled customer service, promote long-lasting customer loyalty, and even more solidify the professionalism you stand behind.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a special announcement from our friend Scott Bleasdell at CallRevu.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. We're at Appletree Honda and Acura in Asheville, North Carolina. Ted, we have another wonderful guest on the segment today.
That's right. And, you know, from what you and I are seeing and hearing on the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Sarah, the phones continue to be at the top of the list. Great honor to welcome our next guest. If you would, Scott, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Scott Bleasdell. I'm the head of product with CallRevu.
So great honor to have CallRevu with us today, Sarah.
Well, and Scott, so this CallRevu just released a new product that is changing the game of fixed operations and how they manage their phone calls. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. So the product is called Service Vision Pro, and it's a brand new product based on CallRevu's award-winning call monitoring platform. What's different about this product is it really leverages what we call superhuman AI technology that analyzes fixed ops phone calls to a degree that we've never been able to do before. We can dive into and extract rich insights out of every single phone call to help dealers really understand what's going on in those phone calls and whether customers are being handled appropriately, whether opportunities are being missed, etc., and then obviously alert them if there's a problem on any given phone call. And this really takes away the burden of dealers having to listen to phone calls and to review things, even read transcripts or even read a summary of a phone call. We'll handle all of it. We use this rich intelligence to really bubble up the things that they need to know about most.
You know, Scott, it's amazing how many calls come in every day to dealerships on the service side, okay? So at CallRevu, you've got a tremendous reach around the United States with their dealer clients. Let's drill down a little bit more. What makes Service Vision Pro different than some of the things that are out there in the market today?
Well, as I mentioned, it's our superhuman AI technology, which is pretty cool stuff. But you mentioned the number of calls, and that's actually one of the key ingredients that made our AI technology so robust. Currently today, we track about 11 million phone calls across the nation every month. Now, not all of those are service calls, but the majority are. And we use that volume of calls and we've analyzed those calls, and we use that to train our AI systems. And that's what allows it to be able to be so smart, understanding what happens on those calls in fixed ops departments at dealerships, because all we service is automotive dealerships. All those calls are for dealerships themselves.
I'm just thinking about all the different phone calls that come into a service department, from general questions to appointment calls to status updates. Can you talk to us a little bit about the AI and this superhuman technology? So how is this really going to impact service calls?
Yeah, so it's actually going to be game-changing for them. Because of the volume of calls that we've been able to analyze and the intelligence we're able to build using AI technology, we can really understand the actual intent of why a caller is calling in. Are they just calling for a status check, which is an important thing to know about, right, in service? Are they just asking for directions? Is it an F&I question, what have you? We understand now what those are. We can properly classify each one of those phone calls. But we can also then show over time are the number of status check calls that a customer, or that a service department rather, is getting, is that decreasing? It should be, if you identify why customers are calling and asking for a status check, and then training your service advisors to be more proactive in reaching out to communicating with the customer so that they're not wondering what's up with my car. So you can definitely track that over time, and that's definitely a way to enhance customer service inside the fixed ops departments.
So Scott, you mentioned CallRevu, 11 million calls a month coming in. So what you're basically saying is that with these 11 million calls, you're getting smarter every month based on what's happening currently out there in the marketplace. This is amazing what's happening. We're hearing a lot about AI on the Fixed Ops Roundtable, but really you're using this to a great advantage for the dealer.
Absolutely, and we are continually learning. We're continually tracking more calls all the time, and our systems are automatically getting smarter. It's called machine learning. It's a real thing. And our machines are learning and figuring out exactly what's going on in these calls, and we're able to get richer and deeper insights, get smarter about which calls we bring to the attention of management at the dealership to let them know, hey, you need to take a look at this call. There's, a customer sat issue. And those alerts that we bring to management is having a direct impact on CSI scores. So it's very meaningful for the dealers.
That's huge. So these alerts, is this happening in real time, or how does the dealership access that?
Yeah, so we deliver alerts in seconds, no longer in minutes. We can do it via email or a text message. And so literally within seconds of a call ending, we've analyzed that call. If there's something that needs attention, we notify management, and management can take appropriate action. We tell them exactly what happened on the call and what we are telling them, hey, you need to look at this call for. Was it a CSI issue? Was it a customer opportunity or a sale opportunity miss? And then allowing them to take the appropriate action, whether it's to talk to the employee or maybe reach back out to the customer before that customer calls the next dealership across town.
Wow. So you've been doing this for a while, I understand, on the sales side,
yes,
okay, with great success. And now you brought it over to the fixed ops side, if you will, the service. What can fixed ops management expect, as this is being rolled out now by CallRevu?
So I think the biggest thing is the volume of calls into fixed ops we estimate between 70 and 75% of the total call volume in a dealership. That's a lot of calls, right? Fixed ops management doesn't have the time to actually take a look at and analyze, do any analysis or listen to calls. I've actually talked to a few service directors that spend hours a day listening to phone calls to make sure that their guys are doing the right thing on the call and the customers are being handled appropriately. They don't have to do that at all anymore. We will analyze every single call, and we'll let them know what needs their attention and what doesn't. So that's the biggest impact it's going to have. It's going to give them hours a day back, potentially.
Sarah, I've almost got to ask you this question as you being a subject matter expert on this topic, okay? How important is a tool like this at the retail level?
Well, this is really cool because if you think about it from the perspective of a dealer, if a dealer is fortunate enough to have a business development department that is really, really looking at this kind of data, it's all post data. They're measuring things after the fact and after it's long happened, oftentimes, days after it's happened before they can reconcile some of the reporting and look at some of these trends. So Scott, what you're describing in having something that's real time, that you can analyze and really see what's going on with your customers. That's super huge for a dealer to be able to make those adjustments, because it impacts everything from scheduling to how you're efficient in your shop. It just cascades over the entire customer experience.
It does. It does. Being reactive in the here and now is super, super important for customer satisfaction.
Absolutely.
Well, Scott, and I'm going to put my BDC manager hat on for a second.
Okay.
So, all of this sounds incredible, but there's a lot of data that you're describing that CallRevu is analyzing for a service department. And as you mentioned, those types of phone calls can be so different compared to the sales department. So can dealership management really expect to be able to use the insights from these phone calls to improve the customer service and CSI scores for the store after the call is over?
Yeah, they can, and it's actually mainly because of the number of insights we're looking for out of every conversation. You're right. Whether it's F&I or service, parts, body shop, what have you, the conversations are dramatically different. And that's why we had to build such a rich and intelligent AI system that can look for all of the different variables across all of those different types of phone calls. So our system looks at, right now, over 55 different elements of a phone call to see, did this happen, did that happen? We're able to sort of dig down and get to the depths of what happened on the phone call. What was discussed? Was a recall mentioned, or was pricing discussed, or whatever. There's a ton of things, including things like, was somebody calling in for a repair on their brakes or a windshield replacement, tire rotation? What was it that they were calling about? All of these things give rich insights in the here and now, so that we can make intelligent decisions about what needs to be taken action on, whether it's to follow up with the customer to make sure they have the right information, or if the call ended poorly, kind of resurrecting that call to make sure that the customer is taken care of well and got their questions answered. All of that stuff can be done in near real time. It doesn't have to be done after the fact, because it's all done so quickly via the AI tech that we built.
So Scott, to bring it home, when can dealers expect this? I know CallRevu, you've had a lot of dealers come on the Fixed Ops Roundtable and share their best practices and results with CallRevu. When can your existing dealers expect this? And then how can somebody who, let's say, is not using CallRevu yet reach out and get more information?
Great question. So what I've described today, what we talked about today, is available today. So customers can see it, touch it, we can get it implemented in a matter of days at their dealership, and start taking advantage of all of this new technology and new capabilities today. The easiest way is to reach us out by email. Everybody's got email. Nobody will remember a phone number, so it's just sales@callrevu.com. That's CALLREVU.com. And one of our guys will reach out to you and set up a demo. We can do it today.
Well, Scott, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, congratulations to you and CallRevu for all that you're doing for the industry.
Thank you.
And great success as we move forward. So, big news.
Thank you very much, Ted. It's a pleasure being here.
Everybody, we're here at Apple Tree Honda and Acura. We're in Asheville, North Carolina. We're at the Fixed Ops Roundtable with Scott Bleasdell from CallRevu, and we will be right back.
Power up with the parts leaders at the DePaula Auto Group in Albany, New York. Up next.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I am Ted Ings. We are at the pop-up event at DePaula Automotive Group in Albany, New York. We're with the great parts department leaders. I'll have you introduce yourselves, gentlemen, starting with Mike, who you are and then what you do.
Mike Hensel, parts manager for the Ford store.
Tom Salmeri, assistant parts manager for the Ford store.
Brian Lumnicki, parts manager for Mazda.
Jason Robb, parts manager for Chevy.
Steve Luciano, assistant parts manager for Chevy.
And Tom, I know you have spent a lot of time and a lot of years building this parts empire you've got at DePaula. Tell us a little bit about that.
Basically, we have a great facility where we work on taking care of our customers through the service lane, which they can manage the gross profit and making sure that's efficient. But the biggest piece that we work on is building our wholesale business, and we work together on Friday afternoons and look at our logistics, how we grow that business, not just for our Chevy business, not for Ford, but Mazda, because if Ford is someone that one of our wholesalers is buying Ford parts, I want to make sure that they buy Mazda and Chevrolet and accommodate everyone. And we'll talk about cycle time today. Cycle time on our actual customers out there. Cycle time is important for those body shops or automotive people that we're accommodated. And we'll have some good stories that this panel will answer. Some good stuff here.
All right, so Mike, let me start with you. How do you as a team grow that wholesale business here at DePaula?
Well, first of all, we have outstanding outside sales representation. And it doesn't just start with the guys that are calling on customers hot and cold. It's our drivers. They are the face of our dealership, and we rely on them to do a lot of our networking for us. And on top of that, it's just having an outstanding, strong inventory. So cycle time continues for the customer. There's no wait time. We have the part. We're not going out to our parts distribution centers to get that part. We're pulling out of our own inventory. So, customers love it. And our best customers are our competition, which is a pretty good feeling. Right, guys?
Yeah, I love it.
Tom, how about you?
I think our network of drivers, they communicate between each other and find out the most efficient runs between them. And we go everywhere, and we can cover a greater area with less people.
Yeah, super. And Brian?
So for us with Mazda, it's actually the communication and utilization of our drivers from GM, Chevy, and Ford. With us being the smaller of the unit, we rely on our current drivers to not only deliver our parts in a timely manner, but to get out, hey, we're here, let us service you as well. So, our drivers for Ford and Chevy are a huge part of it as well. So,
Jason, learned a lot about these drivers and trucks. How many trucks do you have on the road here altogether?
Between the stores, we have 17 trucks on the road. And that's important to us. That gives us a greater opportunity for a greater coverage. A lot of our customers within the 50-mile radius or greater, we're able to get to even twice a day if need be. They, out of the order, if they forgot to get a piece or they got a piece that came in perhaps damaged or wrong side or whatever the case may be, we're able to get back out there and correct that problem for them the same day. Goes back to that cycle time, getting that car done and down the road for our wholesale customer so they can get on to the next one.
I love it. And Steve, if you would.
I think the biggest thing is the relationships. The relationships that our parts guys build with our customers is so important. We have almost 70 years worth of experience between our four guys, and they have such good relationships with our customers. They call, they know them by voice. They pick up and they know the voice as soon as they answer, and it's just an ongoing thing of just building relationships, and people buy from people, and I think that's super important. So,
Steve, you're so true. This is a relationship business, right? No matter what you do, it all comes back to a relationship and having that great relationship. I want to come back to the cycle time if I can. Jason, tell us a little bit more about that, the importance of keeping that cycle time, high with their customers.
It goes back to the ability for our wholesale customers to keep their productivity high. If we're able to get them the parts out of our inventory as opposed to selling out of the warehouses, so to speak, then that allows them to get a car completed faster, get on to the next task faster. It allows them to build their business and grow as we grow with them.
And Brian, wholesale is such an important part here at DePaula. Not every dealership is into the whole wholesale business the way your group is here.
No, absolutely not. And it's a very large piece of what we're trying to do here, and that's our biggest opportunity is to not only continue serving the current people that we have, but getting our name out there to everyone in this area. So,
and parts has a lot of different roles, right? You've got that front counter, you've got the counter that works and serves the technicians in the shop, you've got the wholesale piece as well. There's a lot of components, and you've got a lot of people that you're managing as well. Talk to us a little bit about that.
The people are what make us successful. So I'm fortunate enough I have someone that works directly with me with over 35 years experience, knows the Mazda parts like the back of her hand. We're very fortunate where we have some programs and technology that makes it a little bit easier for us as well. But the people we have, whether it's our drivers that we're utilizing with Ford Chevy, my counter person, myself, that's what is making us successful.
I love it. And Mike, we're having the technicians here on the show today, and the technicians sell hours, but really they can't sell them without the parts.
Exactly.
So parts sell hours. Talk to us a little bit about that.
The parts department plays a huge role to our three biggest customers, which is our body shop, our service department, and our sales department. And we try to daily streamline the process so we can continually raise that bar and just grow as a team.
Yeah.
Another big part of that, too, is the investment that Mrs. DePaula has allowed us as managers to make. The investment in the inventory, it's by far the biggest in the area. And that just goes to help us, like Mike said, with our in-house customers, or like Brian was saying, with out on the road. So it really, that kind of helps tie it all together for us.
And Tom, that speaks to the tools that you at DePaula provide.
The tools they talked about, they're supplying the customers with our inventory, and it's about turn. And we talk about it weekly about how we're turning that inventory to make it's about people. I mean, we talked about our wholesale desk the other day about Jason took a call for a wholesale desk, and they wanted to talk to the man on the wholesale counter, and they called back. They deal with people. It's a people business. That wholesale business it's all about people. But we know what we have in our service lanes. We know how we can do that. We know how we can adjust our gross. But the wholesale business is so big, and to use it and put our name out there is so important to us, and we strive on that.
Steve, a lot of dealerships, and we're going to talk today to some of your folks in Recon in detail about the importance of the used cars and turning them in the used car inventory. But a lot of dealerships, don't realize that it's important, just as important, to turn that parts inventory as well and keep that moving. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, we take great pride in making sure that we have little to no obsolescence, making sure that the parts that we have in stock are up to date. Parts that are obsolete sitting on our shelves is nothing but wasted money. And so we make sure that everything is up to date, that we're stocking what people buy and getting rid of the stuff that people don't buy. And it helps us with, that turnaround and making sure our technicians have what they need, making sure our wholesale customers have what they need. And it's super important to make sure that you maintain that.
Jason, talk to us a little bit about that inventory.
It's a challenge to keep it like it is, especially in a wholesale business. Mike can attest to that too. As large as the wholesale business is, a lot of returns obviously come along with that. So it's a constant challenge to stay on top of that. But to be able to turn that inventory, over $1.25 million in investment that we have, to be able to turn that 6 to 8 times a year it speaks a lot to our volume. It speaks a lot, again, like Tom said, to our people. The relationships they've fostered. People know who's everybody's favorite football team is, and kids' names and everything else. It's really something. It's a business within a business, if you will.
I love it. Ryan, your team does a great job here with parts. Anything you want to tell your peers out there in the country, who are watching in today on the importance of parts and the awareness there?
I mean, as everyone said, parts, service, parts, and wholesale, they all go hand in hand. You need them. The biggest thing is, as we've all said, is that we have it in our shelves. We have it in our warehouse. We're not waiting days for it. So we're getting it out to our clients as quickly as possible so they're not, sitting on it and waiting on it. So, inventory is everything.
All right. Tom, will come to you, and I'll give Mike the last word.
We have a great deal of experience. We have over almost half of our people have been parts managers. So we look up the right part the right first time and make sure we get it out to the customers quick, and even in our own service shop.
I love it. Mike, last word.
Well, between the entire auto group, we're really proud of the 3 million plus inventory. We stock, we sell, we succeed, and we just keep the ball rolling. And it's all about 100% the team.
Everybody, it's all about the people here at DePaula. Great thanks to the parts leaders here today for sharing your time with us today. Don't go away. We have a lot more coming up. We're at the 4th pop-up event at the DePaula Automotive Group here in Albany, New York, at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We will be right back.
It used to be that finding the right talent for your car dealership could get a little hairy. Maybe you were just looking in the wrong places. But now that's all changed. At Automax Recruiting and Training, we've helped recruit, screen, and place over 180,000 retail automotive professionals in every department. Along with our robust in-person training programs, with Automax, you'll be pushing the hire button in no time. Automax Recruiting and Training. Any other retail automotive talent search is positively primitive.
The first day of our Automotive Avengers event left us feeling super. Don't forget to vote for our Best Practice Awards that will be announced at the end of the event. We'll be back in action tomorrow for day 2 of this epic event at 9 a.m. Eastern. Bye!